Chapter 480. His method of detoxification is different from normal apothecaries. He doesn't know what the poison is, but he can also detoxify it. Thinking of this, Xiao Qin immediately started to circulate his mental cultivation method and started to detoxify Xiao Yuanshan. The poison in Xiao Yuanshan's body was mobilized by Xiao Qin and entered his own body. He started to use his Yuan Qi to refine it. When this poison entered Xiao Qin's body, Xiao Qin realized that something was wrong. This poison can actually suppress one's strength. However, it can only suppress a martial artist's strength. Xiao Qin is not a martial artist, so this poison has no effect on him. He can just directly refine it. Xiao Hai doesn't know what the white fox is doing, but he doesn't dare to make a sound. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, nervously stood at the side and stared at Xiao Qin and Xiao Yuanshan. As for Xiao Yuanshan, he already knows that the white fox is helping him detoxify the poison. However, he can't figure out why the white fox can detoxify the poison out of thin air. What method did he use? Even a devil cultivator has never heard of someone who can directly use devil qi to detoxify poison. Even if he absorbed the poison, isn't he afraid of being poisoned to death? However, Xiao Yuanshan didn't ask too much. He was afraid that if he opened his mouth, he would disturb the white fox. He could only let it do as it pleases. After a while, about half an hour later, Xiao Qin cleansed the poison in Xiao Yuanshan's body. However, Xiao Yuanshan's body was already very weak from the poison. He needs to recuperate. This is not something that Xiao Qin can do with Yuan Qi. However, Xiao Qin's medicinal dregs can be used. He can take a bit every day to temper his body and train. He believes that he will quickly return to normal and his strength will also increase by another level. Alright, there's no problem. Grandpa Xiao, the poison in your body has been detoxified. Don't compare me with those half-baked apothecaries. You should have confidence in me. Xiao Qin stood up and stretched his arms as he said. Ah, it's done. Xiao Hai looked at Xiao Qin in shock. His face was filled with disbelief. Xiao Hai, I really feel that there's no problem. Xiao Yuanshan sat up and waved his fists. He felt that his body was extremely relaxed. Thank you, Hero White Fox. Once Xiao Hai saw that his father was really fine, he was extremely excited and immediately knelt down to Xiao Qin. The Xiao family will never forget Hero White Fox's great kindness, don't. Xiao Qin was shocked and quickly supported Xiao Hai. You are my elder, don't be like this. But Xiao Hai felt that at this moment, he was already unable to use words to thank Xiao Qin for his kindness. No buts. I'll go and see if Apothecary Sun is back. Actually, Xiao Qin had been using his divine sense to keep an eye on the outside. Medicine Master Sun hadn't returned yet, but he didn't want Xiao Qin to say some words of gratitude and kneel at the slightest provocation. This made Xiao Qin feel very uncomfortable, so it was better for him to leave first. Xiao Qin returned to the living room and found a chair to sit down. He closed his eyes and waited for the Sun family to arrive. In Xiao Yuanshan's room, Xiao Hai still hadn't recovered from his previous excitement. He looked at his father, who seemed to be fine, and felt like he was dreaming. Father, this Hero White Fox is really our Xiao family's great benefactor. I couldn't tell that Xiao Qin had unknowingly grown up. Xiao Yuanshan sighed. I didn't expect that in the end. It was still his friend who saved our Xiao family. Yes, but why isn't Xiao Qin here? Xiao Hai was surprised and suddenly thought of Xiao Qin. Logically speaking, if White Fox was here, why wasn't Xiao Qin here? With Xiao Qin and White Fox's relationship, even if it was the Qing family, they wouldn't dare to say anything, right? Moreover, this time, the Xiao family was completely disappointed in the Qing family. It wasn't that the Xiao family didn't contact the Qing family, but Qing Zhongfan was hesitant, saying that he had to report to Old Master Cheng and so on. In any case, he just delayed as long as he could and didn't have any intention of helping the Xiao family. Even Qing Mingxiang, who often came to find Xiao Xiao, didn't come even once. This made the Xiao family really disappointed and almost shed all pretense of cordiality. Maybe, it's not good for him to come out. Xiao Yuanshan thought about it and said, after all, his current identity is Menjing servant. If he rashly returned to the Xiao family, it might affect him. Xiao Hai nodded. However, it was a pity that Xiao Chen didn't come back to see such a great moment for the Xiao family. After waiting for a while, the Sun family didn't come. This made Xiao Chen slightly puzzled. For Sun Xiaonong, Sun Yuming and Sun Yoli were his sons. Sun Yukai was just an outsider. Leaving his two sons here, did he not want them anymore? In fact, Sun Xiaonong didn't want them anymore. After Sun Yukai returned, he told Sun Xiaonong everything that happened to the Xiao family. Sun Xiaonong was shocked and frowned. He didn't expect that White Fox would intervene. Not only did he intervene, he even gave the Sun family so many difficult conditions. If the Sun family gave all the business to the Xiao family and spit out all the money, what would happen to the Sun family in the future? The Sun family couldn't even be an ordinary family anymore. They could only rely on working outside to make a living. How could Sun Xiaonong, who was originally high up, accept this? Sun Xiaonong, Sun Yukai, and Sun Yumao sat in the Sun family's conference room. Looking at the empty conference room, Sun Xiaonong couldn't help but sigh. Originally, the Sun family was prosperous. Although the second and third generation were fighting for power, at least there were people fighting, right? But now? Sun Xiaonong wanted to choose a person in charge of the Sun family but couldn't. The people were basically all dead. White Fox, this old man hates you. Uncle, what should we do? We can't just hold on like this, right? Yuming and Yoli are still in the Xiao family. Medicine Master's son looked at Sun Xiaonong, who didn't speak for a long time and couldn't help but remind him. AI. Sun Xiaonong sighed helplessly and asked, Yumao, how much money does our Sun family have now? How many properties do we have? Including the 300 million we cheated from the Xiao family, we have a total of 500 million. As for properties, in addition to the Sun family's mansion, there are also a few shops. The total value is also about 500 million. Our family now has 1 billion. Sun Yumao said. Let's do it this way. We will return 300 million to the Xiao family. We will give the properties and shops to the Xiao family. We will secretly keep 200 million and then leave Songning City overnight to develop in other cities. Sun Xiaonong thought for a while and said. That's fine, but can the Xiao family believe it if it's only 300 million? The money originally belonged to the Xiao family. If we return it, the Xiao family won't think that we don't have a penny, right? Sun Yukai hesitated for a while and said. In fact, he really didn't want to leave. He now had a position in the warriors' market. If he wanted money, the salary was not low. If he left, he would really be nothing. Even if he relied on a foreign family, his position would certainly not be as good as before. Previously, we said that we relied on the Xiao family because we had nowhere else to go. Now that we say this, the Xiao family might not believe us. Sun Xiaonong said, all right. Now, Yukai, immediately take these land deeds and bank deposits to the Xiao family. Bring Mingming and Yuli back. Yes. Medicine Master's son nodded. He took the bank card and land deeds and left the Sun family for the Xiao family. However, halfway there, Alchemist's son rolled his eyes and hesitated. He had worked hard for the Sun family all these years, not to mention that he had contributed a lot to the Sun family's development. Now that the Sun family was finished, he would be finished along with it. Being forced to leave his hometown meant that his social status would drop all of a sudden. Thinking up to this point, Medicine Master's son decided not to go to the Xiao family. These land deeds could not be converted into cash, so he casually threw them in the car and went to the bank with his bank card. He quickly opened an account and transferred 300 million yuan over. Then, he abandoned the car and fled. He got on a long-distance bus to Lon City. It was not that he had to go to Lon City. He just saw a bus at random and boarded it without much thought. After getting on the bus, Medicine Master's son heaved a sigh of relief. Even if he stopped working, this 300 million yuan would be enough for him to spend. Moreover, he still had his alchemy skills. Of course, it was definitely not comparable to before. White Fox, this is all your fault. After waiting for a long time, Xiaochen finally became a little impatient. He kicked Sun Yukai awake and said, "Son, did your Sun family abandon you? Why hasn't anyone come to give you money after so long? If you don't want to live, then forget it. I'll fulfill your wish." Ah. Sun Yukai had just woken up and was at a loss. He looked at Xiaochen in shock. After a long time, he reacted and said, "No, I'll call my father." "Wait, don't kill us." Sun Yukai quickly took out his phone and dialed Sun Xiaonong's number. He said anxiously, "Dad, what's going on? Are you not going to agree to Hero White Fox's request? Yuli and I are here. He wants to kill us." Sun Yukai knew that White Fox really dared to kill them. He was not joking. Ah. Sun Yukai didn't go. He has been gone for an hour. He should be here. Sun Xiaonong said curiously. What? An hour? Then he must be here. It took him at most an hour to drive here. Sun Yukai was also a little puzzled. Is there a traffic jam on the road? I'm not sure. You can contact him. I'll ask him to bring the Sun family's land deeds and savings, Sun Xiaonong said. It's a blessing that you two can come back safely. Okay, I'll contact him. Sun Yukai nodded. After hanging up the phone, he quickly dialed Sun Yotsai's number. However, on the other side of the phone, there was a cold female voice. This was the prompt tone of the phone being turned off. This made Sun Yotsai's heart suddenly turn cold. Chapter 481. He had a bad feeling. He quickly called back Sun Xiaonong's phone and said anxiously, "Father, Medicine Master Sun's phone is turned off. Can you check if the deposits are still there?" What? Turned off? Sun Xiaonong's heart sank. He quickly logged into the online bank. As a result, he checked and found that all the deposits had been transferred. There was not a penny left. All of a sudden, Sun Xiaonong had a feeling that the sky was dark. Sun Yukai absconded with the money? This was the only possibility. Otherwise, why did he withdraw the money? Father, what's wrong? Why aren't you talking? Sun Yuming asked quickly. It's over. The money is gone. Sun Yukai, the little bastard, took it. There's not a penny left. Sun Xiaonong yelled, I think he has run away. Ah. What should I do? Sun Yuming suddenly felt sad. Without money, would White Fox let him go? He would vent his anger on him. Don't worry. I'll ask someone to look for it. After Sun Xiaonong finished speaking, he hung up the phone and arranged people. On the other side, Sun Yuming was holding the phone in a daze. He looked at Xiao Chen and said helplessly, Hero White Fox, Medicine Master Sun absconded with the money. I absconded? Then let Sun Xiaonong chase after him. Don't worry. Without money and property, you will die miserably. I will kill your father too. Xiao Chen said coldly. However, Xiao Chen secretly admired Medicine Master Sun's decisiveness. He actually turned around and left. What a talent. Soon, there was news from Sun Xiaonong's side. They found Sun Yotsai's car. It was parked in front of the bank and hadn't been moved. There was a title deed inside, but the money was gone. However, without money, could White Fox let him go? Sun Xiaonong had no choice. He took out his remaining 200 million yuan and brought the title deed to the Xiao family. Once upon a time, he had fantasized that one day, he would be able to proudly step into this mansion and become the owner of this place. But now, forget about being the owner, he couldn't even be considered a guest. He was just a pitiful worm that had come to redeem someone. Did you catch Medicine Master Sun? Xiao Chen looked at Sun Xiaonong and asked. No, but he threw the title deed in the car. I brought it with me. As for the deposit. Sun Xiaonong lowered his head. Okay, don't talk about these useless things. I don't believe that you gave all the money to Yu Kai. You didn't keep anything for yourself? Why don't I believe it? Xiao Chen waved his hand and said directly, take out the rest of your things. I'll settle the score with Sun Yu Kai. Yes. Sun Xiaonong's forehead suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. It seemed that White Fox was not stupid. He had already guessed that he had hidden some money. It seemed that the 200 million he had prepared was very useful. He quickly took it out and said, it's not that I didn't want to give you this 200 million, but it's a fixed deposit. If I withdraw it, there will be no interest. I was also afraid of bringing losses to great hero White Fox. I was planning to give it to you when it's due, but if you want it now, I'll transfer it to you. Xiao Chen glanced at him indifferently and didn't say anything more. He just said, turn it over. You can write a transfer declaration on the deed of the land and you can leave with your 2 sons. Remember to keep a low profile in the future. I'm a kind-hearted person. I'll let you go and get a black-bellied one. He'll take your money and then kill you. Yes, yes. Sun Xiaonong nodded repeatedly. He knew that what Xiao Chen said was the truth. Some people were indeed like that. They wanted money but they also wanted their lives. White Fox was already considered a good person. After writing the statement, Sun Xiaonong took his 2 sons and left the Xiao family with their tails between their legs. Xiao Chen sighed. He had lost 300 million for no reason at all. How unlucky. However, with these industries and 200 million yuan of funds, the Xiao family could be revived and revitalized. Especially with the cooperation with the Xia family, no bank would come to collect the debt. They would try to rope in the Xiao family. After settling the matter with the Xiao family, Xiao Chen knew that it was time for him to leave. Although this was his home, he couldn't stay. He hadn't found the mastermind. Xiao Chen had to be as cautious as ever. Xiao Chen walked to Xiao Yuanshan's room with the land deed and bank card. At this time, Xiao Hai and Xiao Xiao hadn't left yet. They were chatting with Xiao Yuanshan. The whole family was very excited and happy. White Fox, you're back. Xiao Hai saw Xiao Chen and immediately stood up respectfully. The Sun family brought 200 million in cash and the land deed of all their properties. These belonged to the Xiao family. Xiao Chen didn't say anything about Sun Yu Kai because there was no need. The Xiao family wouldn't be able to do anything if they knew. Ah. They really gave us the money? Xiao Hai was stunned. Although the Xiao family was cheated of more than 300 million, in his opinion, it was worth it to get back 200 million and some land deeds. After all, land deeds were worth a lot of money. And the land deeds are here. This is the statement from the Sun family. Also, I asked him to transfer the 200 million to Xiao Chen's bank card. It's here. You can take it out and use it. The password is his birthday. Xiao Chen passed the land deeds, statement, and bank card to Xiao Hai. Thank you for your help, White Fox. I know that you won't do it for free. Then, how much of the Xiao family's profit should I give to you? Xiao Hai felt that White Fox wouldn't help for no reason. Now that the Xiao family had a profit, he naturally had to give some of it. After all, this was all White Fox's credit. Uncle Xiao, you think too much. I came here purely to help. I don't want it. You can also take all of the Xia family's profits in the future. I don't want it either. Xiao Chen said solemnly. How can I do that? Xiao Hai was a little stunned. He didn't expect White Fox to be so generous. Why was he so good to the Xiao family? Alright, it's time for me to leave. I'll bring some medicinal herbs for Grandpa Xiao next time. After he consumes them, his body will become better and better. Xiao Chen said, I'll take my leave first today. You're leaving just like that? White Fox, why don't you stay for dinner before leaving? Xiao Hai quickly tried to keep him. No. Xiao Chen waved his hand. Grandpa Xiao, Uncle Xiao, I will leave first. If that's the case, then I will send you off. Xiao Hai said with some regret. Dad, I will send you off. You should hurry up and deal with these land deeds. Xiao Xiao said, it's best to find a lawyer to transfer the ownership as soon as possible. Otherwise, if the Sun family causes some trouble again, it won't be good. This is also good. Xiao Hai was slightly stunned. He didn't understand why Xiao Xiao would take the initiative to send White Fox off, but he still agreed. Xiao Chen and Xiao Xiao walked out of Xiao Yuanshan's villa one after another. Outside the villa, looking at the familiar courtyard, Xiao Chen was a little emotional. I don't know when I can return here again. After passing by the small villa that he used to live in, Xiao Chen thought of the days and nights he trained hard every day and night. That was an unforgettable period of time. He thirsted for strength, thirsted for more than 10 years. He didn't expect that when he was about to be disappointed, he would obtain it. Life is really wonderful. Sometimes when you are desperately pursuing it, you just don't get it. But when you are about to give up, there is a glimmer of hope. Unknowingly, Xiao Chen slowed down his footsteps. A pair of warm little hands suddenly wrapped around Xiao Chen's waist. Then, Xiao Chen felt a soft body sticking to his back. This made Xiao Chen suddenly shocked. He subconsciously wanted to avoid it. He knew who this was. This was definitely Xiao Xiao without a doubt. He didn't understand why Xiao Xiao would suddenly hug him. Could it be that my performance just now was too domineering, and Xiao Xiao developed a love for me? This made Xiao Chen a little dumbfounded. Perhaps, the Qing family and Cheng Mingxiang's reaction disappointed Xiao Xiao. Therefore, when she saw him dealing with the Xiao family's affairs, she developed a good impression of him. It was reasonable for a girl of this age to have a good impression of those powerful young talents. However, it wasn't Xiao Zhao's style to be so bold and stick to him. However, just as Xiao Chen wanted to push Xiao Xiao away, Xiao Xiao softly murmured, "Brother." Xiao Chen's entire body stiffened. He widened his eyes in disbelief. Xiao Xiao, recognized me? How is this possible? Brother, I'm so happy. It really is you. Xiao Xiao was still muttering to herself. You finally have the ability, and you are so powerful, Xiao Chen. This time, he was 100% sure that Xiao Xiao must have recognized him. No wonder Xiao Xiao was so bold and dared to hug him from behind. It turned out that she already knew that he was her brother. However, at this moment, Xiao Chen didn't know what to say. He didn't know how to explain. He was suddenly exposed by the Xiao family. He wasn't mentally prepared yet. Xiao Hai, coming out of Xiao Yuanshan's villa, prepared to find a lawyer to discuss the land deed. However, just as he walked out of the villa, he saw Xiao Xiao hugging White Fox not far away. Xiao Hai was incomparably shocked. He wanted to call out to Xiao Xiao, but he suddenly shut his mouth. Thinking about it, White Fox was a hero. It was normal for girls to admire him. Perhaps, Xiao Xiao knew that the Xiao family didn't need to rely on the Qing family anymore, so she went to pursue her own happiness. Thinking about it, although White Fox already had a girlfriend. To be honest, he was also a descendant of an aristocratic family. He was more open-minded about this kind of thing. If Xiao Xiao liked him, then he didn't have much of an opinion. After all, White Fox's ability was there. So, thinking about this, Xiao Hai didn't disturb her. Instead, he turned around and left quietly, taking a detour to leave. Let's talk in my room. Xiao Chen returned to his original voice and pointed to the side, to his former villa. Let's go to my room. If others see it, they will be suspicious. You don't want others to know your identity, right? Xiao Xiao said considerately. Chapter 482. All right. Xiao Chen nodded. Xiao Zhao's villa was not far away. Xiao Xiao let go of him and went to her villa with him. Brother, why are you so powerful now? When Xiao Xiao entered the villa, she couldn't help but shout excitedly, the White Fox is actually you. It's incredible. Xiao took off the white fox mask and nodded. It's me. But Xiao, how did you find me? I feel that there should be no problem with my disguise. My voice and so on have changed. Some small details, such as the tone of speech, habits, etc., these haven't changed. Xiao said. Don't forget, we have lived together for so many years. Dad and Grandpa may not have noticed, but I did. Okay, but Xiao, you have some power. Your brother has power, so you pay attention to me. Previously, you ignored me and even helped Qing Meng to bully me. Xiao smiled. Originally, Xiao was just joking, but he didn't expect Xiao's face to turn cold and become a little ugly. Xiao, what's wrong with you? Xiao saw Xiao's face change, and he was suddenly stunned. Nothing. Yes, I am so snobbish. What's wrong? Xiao snorted and was a little angry. Isn't Shen Jingxian the same? When you pursued her so much, she ignored you. In the end, you became powerful, and she came to you and even begged you to do this and that. When the Shen family has problems, you have to solve it. Why don't you talk to her? Xiao didn't understand why Xiao suddenly talked about Shen Jingxian. He couldn't help but be dumbfounded. How can this be the same? It is the same. Xiao said. She is my lover, and you are my sister. She didn't know me before, but you. Xiao said with a bitter face. Forget it. Xiao shook her head. Come and see me when you have time. I'm tired and need to rest. You can go now. Xiao was a little baffled. Xiao was still fine earlier and looked very happy. Why did she suddenly become unhappy all of a sudden? However, Xiao really had to go back, so he didn't say anything more. Anyway, he didn't need to be so polite with his sister. He nodded and said, okay. I'll go first. I'll come and see you next time. Okay. Xiao nodded. Xiao put on his mask and walked out of Xiao's villa. He went to the parking lot and drove back to Xiao's villa. Xiao stood by the window, and her eyes became a little blurred as she watched Chen of the villa. When they were about to reach the villa, Xiao removed his mask again. He recalled Xiao's words. She could tell that there was something wrong with him, but what about the others? The eldest miss didn't notice it, but Jean Bebe seemed to be a little suspicious. From the looks of it, he had indeed revealed some flaws when he wasn't paying attention, and because most of the people around him weren't familiar with Xiao, they didn't see the problem. However, those who were familiar with him had a problem. Therefore, Xiao felt that it was necessary for him to be more careful in case someone saw through him. His face could now transform into other forms for a long time. However, there was a limit to how long he could do it, and it would consume his true qi. It would be great if he could have a human skin mask that could change his appearance. However, this was only a legendary item. Xiao had never heard of anyone possessing such a mask. After he returned to the villa, he saw that Qing Menjing, Jean Bebe, and Yi Xiaoye were eating instant noodles at the dining table. Obviously, since Xiao was not back, they could only have instant noodles. What? Xiao, did you come back by yourself? Qing Menjing was a little surprised to see Xiao. Xiao family is in trouble. Do you know that? Yes, I know. White Fox went to solve it for me, Xiao said. It's all right now. Oh, it's him. Qing Menjing nodded. White Fox is loyal to his friends. However, you sent Jingxian back to the Shen family in the middle of the night. It's normal for him to help you. By the way, Jingxian went to a demonic sect called the Heavenly Fox sect to cultivate. Do you know that? Yes. Alas, I didn't expect that my goddess would leave like this. Xiao sighed. How dare you call her goddess? If White Fox heard that, he would not only not help you, but also come to kill you, Qing Menjing snorted. White Fox is not that boring. Don't think so badly of people. Yi Xiaoya said coldly. I'm talking. What does it have to do with you? Cheng Menjing was a little unhappy. Yi Xiaoya always liked to interrupt and refute her. I'm talking to Xiao Chen. Why do you always like to interrupt? This house is shared by everyone. Why can't we talk? Yi Xiaoya shrugged indifferently. Cousin Menjing, let her be proud for a few days. I think she will cry in a few days. Jean Bebe said proudly. Oh. Cheng Menjing was a little curious as to why Yi Xiaoya would cry, but Jean Bebe obviously had an idea. Yi Xiaoya frowned. Jean Bebe was a smart girl. She had to be careful not to make trouble for her. Suddenly, she thought of the devil centipede fruit that was missing in the yard. Yi Xiaoya looked at Xiao Chen and said, by the way, Xiao Chen, have you seen my devil centipede fruit? You lost it, and you are still asking about this and that. Are you done? Jean Bebe said unhappily. I was the one who took this one. Xiao Chen admitted it straightforwardly. White Fox said that he needed the devil centipede fruit to treat Shen Jingshuan's grandpa. He told me that he saw it in the yard. So, I took it and took it with me. I left in a hurry and didn't tell you. Ah, I see. Yi Xiaoya was slightly dazed. She hesitated for a moment and said, all right. But you have to tell me next time. Otherwise, I will think that I lost it. All right. Xiao Chen nodded and said, is the devil centipede fruit very precious? Do you want me to compensate you? Forget it. Yi Xiaoya shook her head and went upstairs. White Fox had not asked her for dual training for a few days. Once she tried it, she would not be able to stop. It was like a drug addiction. The feeling of gaining strength quickly made Yi Xiaoya excited and tempted. Although they had to be honest with each other every time, she had gotten used to it after a long time. Xiao Chen sat in Yi Xiaoya's previous seat. Watching the eldest mistress and Jean Bebe eating instant noodles, he said, I'm sorry, Menjing. I was out for something these days and didn't cook for you. Actually, Yi Xiaoya is right. You don't owe me anything. Cheng Menjing shook her head and said, you used to be my fiancé, but not anymore. I don't have the right to ask you to do this or that. It's unfair to you. I didn't pay you to be my servant, ah? The eldest mistress's words surprised Xiao Chen. He did not expect the eldest mistress to say such things. Actually, he had always been patient with the eldest mistress because the identity of his fiancée in the past did not bring any glory to the eldest mistress. Instead, it was a burden and humiliation. When Xiao Chen was mentioned, everyone would tease her and feel that she had married a good-for-nothing. However, it would be fine if this good-for-nothing liked her and treated her well. But this good-for-nothing just had to like Shen Jingxian and pursue Kerlin. Who would be happy if they were in her shoes? Now that he thought about it, Xiao Chen felt that he only considered himself at the beginning and did not consider Cheng Menjing's feelings. It was really wrong. Now, whether he was with Shen Jingxian, Tang Tang, or Lu Shuangshuang, what he brought to them was glory and pride. Thinking about Shen Jingshuan's pride in the Shen family, Tang Tang's respect by Yu Shaochuan, and Lu Shuangshuang's vanity at the class reunion, what did the eldest mistress get? Therefore, no matter how domineering and unruly the eldest mistress was to him, all he could think of was to make it up to her as much as possible. Xiao Chen would not have any complaints. This was not meekness, but a kind of compensation as a fiancé. It doesn't matter. I'm willing. Xiao Chen said, I'm sorry, Menjing. In fact, as your fiancé, I didn't care about your feelings and let you be looked down upon by others. It's my fault. So, I'll try my best to make it up to you. Ah. Cheng Menjing looked at Xiao Chen in surprise. She did not expect that he would say these things. She had just said it spontaneously. Menjing, don't worry. As long as you don't drive me away, I'll always stay here, said Xiao Chen. Great. Great. Jean Bebe, however, was very happy. Cousin-in-law, Are you going to pursue cousin Menjing again because sister Jingxian is gone and your dream of being a goddess is broken? Ha. Xiao Chen smiled and did not say anything. I'm going to brew medicine to practice. At night, Xiao Chen, wearing the white fox mask, tiptoed upstairs and came to the door of Yi Xiaoye's room. When he opened the door, Yi Xiaoye sat up on the bed alertly. It turned out that she was not practicing but resting on the bed. Who's there? It's me, the white fox, said Xiao Chen. You're here. Yi Xiaoye saw the white fox and was a little angry. Where have you been these days? My cultivation progress has slowed down. I've been to the Shen family, haven't I? Xiao Chen said, by the way, I've taken 1 devil grain fruit. There's still 1 left. Can I take it tomorrow? Xiao Chen's medicine could only be brewed once more today. He could not use it tomorrow. Therefore, he needed 1 more devil grain fruit tomorrow, which could only be found in Yi Xiaoye's yard. No. Yi Xiaoye shook her head decisively. I have a great use for it. What use do you have? Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. When I'm injured, I eat 1. It can reduce the pain. Otherwise, I might not be able to survive. Yi Xiaoye said, if you take it to treat Shen Jingshuan's grandfather, it should have the same effect, right? Chapter 483. More or less. Did you only plant 2 stalks of devil centipede fruit? Is there nothing else? Xiao Chen said, unwilling to give up. Just 2 stalks. Yi Xiaoye said, what do you want it for? I need this herb to concoct some potions to level up. Xiao Chen said, but if it's useful to you, then forget it. It's already early winter. If I plant it again, it definitely won't be able to survive. Although I still have seeds, I have to wait until next year. Yi Xiaoye said, and after the devil centipede fruit is picked, if it isn't used as medicine within 24 hours, it will lose its effects. You should know this, so it's basically impossible to buy. The sects that need it will plant it themselves. You still have seeds? Xiao Chen was stunned. Then give me some seeds. I'll find someone to plant it. You find someone to plant it? Do you know someone who can plant this kind of seed in this season? Yi Xiaoye was somewhat puzzled. Don't tell me to plant it in a greenhouse. That won't work. Don't you know why the devil centipede fruit is called devil centipede fruit? Yang means that it emits sunlight. In other words, it needs direct sunlight to grow. If it's kept in a greenhouse, it won't work. It's fine. I can plant it in your flower bed. Xiao Chen said, and you know the person who can plant it. He's my little brother, Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen found an excuse for himself. Because of his white fox identity, it wasn't good for him to plant it in the courtyard. If he planted the devil's centipede fruit, he would inevitably come to take care of it. However, if Qing Menjing found out, it would be hard to explain. It was better to say that Xiao Chen knew how to plant it. This way, Yi Xiaoye and Qing Menjing wouldn't be suspicious. Xiao Chen. He knows how to plant the devil centipede fruit. Really? Yi Xiaoye was somewhat shocked. Xiao Chen knew how to plant herbs. How could she not know? You should know that he can't cultivate to become a martial artist because of his physique. Therefore, he has been searching for medicinal herbs that can change his physique since he was young. He has a deep understanding of medicinal herbs, and some medicinal herbs can't be bought. He can only get seeds, so he planted and cultivated them himself. That's how he learned the ability to cultivate medicinal herbs. Xiao Chen spouted nonsense. If that's the case. Yi Xiaoye felt that it made sense. She nodded. Okay, then I will give you 2 seeds. Let him try planting them. Although they are seeds, the price is not low. Okay. Xiao Chen happily agreed. Then hurry up and take off your clothes. I can't wait. Yi Xiaoye looked at Xiao Chen and said anxiously. Okay. Xiao Chen felt that Yi Xiaoye was like a female pervert. After a night of silence, Xiaochen found that although the speed of dual cultivation with Yi Xiaoye was fast, it wasn't as fast as Lu Shuangshuang. But since Lu Shuangshuang had the physique of a human cauldron, would it be the same as Shen Jingxian? If he used it too many times, would his yin yuan be sucked dry and he would die? Thinking of this, Xiaochen couldn't help but ask Elder Heaven Ancestor, Lu Shuangshuang's physique is different from Shen Jingshuan's, right? She won't have a problem, right? Also, why didn't you tell me about Shen Jingshuan's special physique? I wanted to stop you, but you told me to mind my own business and let me rest for a while. Elder Heaven Ancestor said innocently. But this is a matter of life and death. What if Jingshuan's life is in danger? Xiaochen said anxiously. Don't worry, with me here, how could she die? Elder Heaven Ancestor said, in the end, she will be fine. At most, her physique will be destroyed. Xiaochen wanted to say that since it was so good, he should ask Shen Jingxian to come back and stop cultivating. But after hearing Elder Heaven Ancestor's last sentence, he gave up. Shen Jingshuan's physique had its advantages and disadvantages. Her cultivation speed would be very fast. When she becomes a martial master, even if her appearance wouldn't stay forever, her aging would slow down. This was a good thing for both Xiaochen and Shen Jingxian. Otherwise, in just a few decades, Shen Jingshuan's youth would be gone. Moreover, Xiaochen still wanted to cultivate with her. She would become an ordinary person without a physique, which was not what Xiaochen wanted to see. Early in the morning, Xiaochen used his original appearance to plant the devil spear fruit in the flower garden. Most of these special herbs could resist the cold in winter, but that was after they grew up. If they hadn't germinated yet, it was absolutely impossible to germinate in winter. But Xiaochen didn't worry about this. He planted 2 devil spear fruit seeds in an open space in the flower garden and began to stimulate the vitality of the devil spear fruit. Yi Xiaoye also woke up very early. After she finished dual cultivating with the white fox, she consolidated her strength. Then, she came to the flower garden to start watering her herbs. Then, she saw Xiaochen. She never expected that Xiaochen would really wake up early to plant the devil spear fruit for the white fox. The relationship between the two of them was really good. Yi Xiaoye also found it a little strange. In the past, Xiaochen was said to be very infatuated with Shen Jingxian. Why was his relationship with the white fox so good now that Shen Jingxian was with the white fox? Good morning, Xiaochen. Are you planting the devil spear fruit? Yi Xiaoye asked. Yes. Xiaochen nodded. If you need any medicinal herbs, you can find me to help you grow them. My skills are better than yours. Oh. Yi Xiaoye was taken aback. She thought to herself that Xiaochen was really not modest at all. However, these herbs of hers basically had a low survival rate. Not to mention planting them in winter, even if they were planted in spring or summer, it would not be easy for them to germinate. The chances were only half and half. Why? You don't believe me? Xiaochen smiled slightly. A little. I've never heard of anyone who can plant these herbs in winter. Even the Myriad Herbs Gate can't do it, Yi Xiaoye said. Myriad Herbs Gate? Xiaochen was taken aback. Yes, it's a sect that specializes in growing and selling medicinal herbs. However, they mainly sell seeds and finished medicinal herbs. They basically don't sell them at retail. They sell them wholesale to large organizations like the Hong Chamber of Commerce, Yi Xiaoye said. I see. Then this sect seems to be making a lot of money? Xiaochen asked. Of course. However, there are some precious medicinal herbs that are out of season. If they can be cultivated, the price will be even higher. After all, many medicinal herbs can't be stored for a long time. The devil spear fruit has a short lifespan, but some of them can't grow much longer. They only have a few months' worth of medicinal effects. This way, the out-of-season medicinal herbs are especially valuable. Yi Xiaoye said, if they could cultivate them, they would have done so long ago. Half of these medicinal herbs have to be plucked before it snows. They can't withstand the cold. The devil's spear fruit is one of them. Oh, how much can the out-of-season medicinal herbs be sold for? Xiao Chen asked casually. 10 to 20 times the normal price. If it's some special ones, such as the devil's spear fruit, it can be sold for 50 times the normal price. People might still want them. Yi Xiaoya said, the problem is, they don't have them. There's no market for them. I see. Xiao Chen nodded. After transferring his primordial qi to the seeds of the devil spear fruit, he prepared to go to school. Then I'll go to school first. I've made breakfast. I've saved one for you. Okay, thank you. Yi Xiaoya nodded. However, she didn't expect that Xiao Chen could successfully cultivate the spiritual herbs. The 2 seeds weren't very expensive. Even if he failed, she could afford it. After the young mistress and Jean Bebe had breakfast, Xiao Chen drove them to No. 2 High School. At the entrance of No. 2 High School, Xiao Chen was surprised to see Xiao Xiao. Qing Mingxiang followed behind her and seemed to be explaining something. However, Xiao Xiao didn't seem to be listening. She walked in front and ignored him. When she saw Xiao Chen getting out of the car, she was slightly stunned. However, she ignored him and continued walking forward quickly. This stunned Xiao Chen. Logically speaking, Xiao Xiao should have recognized him yesterday and knew that he was the white fox. Why did she ignore him? In the past, he felt embarrassed. But now? Looking at Xiao Xiao's back and Qing Mingxiang behind her, Xiao Chen seemed to think of something. However, he wasn't sure. When he arrived at the classroom, Song Huawu was already there. She was reading a book in her seat. This made Xiao Chen a little puzzled. Was Song Huawu really here to study? When she saw Xiao Chen, Song Huawu put her book aside and was a little surprised. You're back so soon. There's nothing else over there, so I came back. Right, what happened to Jing Jiba? Asked Xiao Chen. He was arrested. Naturally, he will be punished. Song Huawu said, I don't know the details. I'm only responsible for arresting people. Someone else will do the investigation. Is there anything strange about that Xiao En's? Asked Xiao Chen. Yes, he went to find Yang Jiannan. I don't know what he said, but it definitely wasn't anything good. It should be something bad about you. Song Huawu said, in short, be careful. Yang Jiannan wants to deal with you. He hasn't given up. What a troublesome guy. Xiao Chen frowned slightly and said, right, what is Yang Jiannan's strength? You want to have a conflict with him? Forget it. On the one hand, his identity is there. You are in the wrong no matter what. Song Huawu said, the crime of attacking a public official of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau is very serious for a martial artist. Moreover, his strength isn't low. As far as I know, he should be above the 10th level of inner force. As for how much, I don't know. So strong? Xiao Chen really didn't expect Yang Jiannan's strength to be so high, but he could really endure it. He didn't use force against him. Obviously, the Supernatural Investigation Bureau must have a rule that they couldn't attack ordinary people. Yes, so I advise you not to go against him. Avoid him. Anyway, I'll leave when I'm done here. Song Huawu said, when I'm gone, he will forget about you. Okay. Xiao Chen nodded. If this Yang Tan didn't provoke him, he wouldn't do anything to him. It would be like this. However, Yang Tan's strength really made Xiao Chen a little afraid. In the first class, the homeroom teacher, Miss Wang, walked into the classroom and announced the news of the basketball match. After an agreement with No. 1 Middle School, it was scheduled to be held tomorrow at noon in the stadium of No. 1 Middle School. Chapter 484. In the class, the selected team members were Xiao Chen, Ma Gangmen, Jing Xiaokuan, Xia Shibin, and Yang Tan. Unexpectedly, all 5 of them were from Class 1. It was a miracle for Class 1, which was not good at sports in the past. Although Yang Tan's playing skills weren't that great, the PE teacher really couldn't find anyone who played better than him. From the PE teacher's point of view, this time the 5 of them were on the same team. Yang Tan couldn't possibly scheme against Xiao Chen anymore. His methods should be used on the opponent, and these methods were sometimes very effective. This time, the PE teacher obviously hoped that number 2 high school could get a good result. In previous years, number 1 high school had the upper hand in every competition, but this time, they should be able to turn the situation around. Because all the players from number 2 high school were from class 1, number 2 high school decided that only the students from class 1 would go to number 1 high school. The other students could participate voluntarily. Anyway, after class at noon tomorrow, there would be 2 tourist buses parked at the school gate. The students who wanted to go could get on them voluntarily. One bus was prepared for class 1, and the other bus would be taken randomly. Thinking about it, his last basketball game in number 1 high school was actually played in front of Shin Jingxian. However, he was tricked by Chen Jinpeng, which made him lose face in front of Goddess Shin. This time, Xiao Chen wanted to play in front of Shin Jingxian. However, she was gone. Sometimes, life was really strange. Although Xiao Chen didn't need to show anything in front of Shin Jingxian, it was also an obsession that he didn't complete in the past. When he got home in the evening, Xiao Chen's devil scorpion fruit had not grown yet. However, because he urgently needed medicinal materials to make medicine, Xiao Chen could only steal Yi Xiaoya's last devil scorpion fruit. Anyway, Xiao Chen was confident that his devil scorpion fruit would grow, so he didn't tell Yi Xiaoya. After boiling the medicinal materials, Xiao Chen began to cook dinner for Qing Menjing, Jean Bebe, and Yi Xiaoya. After dinner, Yi Xiaoya subconsciously went to the yard to check her medicinal materials. However, she found that the devil grain fruit was lost again. She was instantly shocked. "Xiao Chen, did you see my devil scorpion fruit?" Yi Xiaoya exclaimed. It was taken away by Hero White Fox." Xiao Chen said, "He needs it urgently. I'll compensate you when my devil centipede fruit grows." "You." Yi Xiaoya was very angry, but she also knew that it was Arctic Fox who did it. It had nothing to do with Xiao Chen. She couldn't vent her anger on Xiao Chen. She could only helplessly turn around and go upstairs. Xiao Chen looked at her angry look and thought, "This Yi Xiaoya wouldn't wait for me to find her in the middle of the night and then kick me to death, right?" On second thought, it was possible. "I'll go back to my room first," said Xiao Chen. "You." Yi Xiaoya stamped her feet in anger, but there was nothing she could do. It was useless to blame Xiao Chen. It was Arctic Fox who took them away. Xiao Chen was at most an accomplice. Jean Bebe was very happy to see Yi Xiaoya's frustrated look. It would be best if he stole all her medicinal materials and left none for her. At night, when Xiao Chen went to find Yi Xiaoya for dual cultivation, he got what he wanted. Yi Xiaoya took advantage of him taking off his clothes and was kicked in the chest by Yi Xiaoya. Then, Xiao Chen saw something he shouldn't have seen. Stunned, he was hit and fell to the ground. Otherwise, Xiao Chen wouldn't have been hit so easily. He even suspected that Yi Xiaoya did it on purpose to distract him. But thinking about it, it was his special ability to see in the dark, and Yi Xiaoya didn't know about it. However, Yi Xiaoya didn't mention the devil scorpion fruit again. Since it had been plucked, it was useless to mention it again. After a quiet night, Xiao Chen left early and resumed his original identity. In the flower bed in the courtyard, he channeled vital energy into the seeds of the devil scorpion fruit. However, to Xiao Chen's surprise, the devil scorpion fruit had already sprouted and burst out of the soil. This speed made Xiao Chen happy. It seemed that using vital energy to accelerate the ripening was very feasible. If he could make it in time, these 2 devil scorpion fruits would be enough for him to use. While Xiao Chen was feeling happy, Yi Xiaoya also came down. She had finished dual cultivation with Arctic Fox and was in high spirits. She couldn't sleep anymore, so she came down. When she saw Xiao Chen, she couldn't help but say, "You're really up early." "Yeah." Xiao Chen nodded. "I'm done. You can continue." "Oh." Yi Xiaoya nodded. But when her gaze swept across the devil scorpion fruit in the flower bed, she was immediately surprised. Your devil scorpion fruit actually sprouted? How is that possible? Why not? I already said that I'm good at cultivating medicinal herbs, but you didn't believe me. Xiao Chen was a little speechless. Now you believe me. I believe. Although Yi Xiaoya still didn't believe it, the facts were in front of her. She couldn't help but believe it. She looked at the devil scorpion fruit seedling in the flower bed. After looking at it for a long time, she finally confirmed that it was the devil scorpion fruit. She sighed and said, "It seems to be true. But, how did you do it? You can't learn this. What do you want to cultivate? Let me help you." Xiao Chen said, "Some things can only be understood and not explained." Okay. Yi Xiaoya nodded. In fact, what Xiao Chen said was right. These things were similar to cultivation. The same mantra was given to you, but everyone's strength was different. It couldn't be solved with just words. Can you help me plant some bitter fruit? I'm almost finished, but it's winter now. I can't plant them myself. If I were to buy them, the price would be too expensive. Okay. Xiao Chen nodded without hesitation. Once upon a time, the bitter fruit was something that he yearned for. Buying one bitter fruit cost him everything. He didn't expect that Yi Xiaoya had seeds. If he knew that he was so familiar with Yi Xiaoya, he would have asked her for it. Okay, I'll get the seeds for you. Yi Xiaoya returned to the villa happily. After a while, she brought some bitter fruit seeds to Xiao Chen. They're here. How many can you plant at one time? You can plant as many as you want. Xiao Chen said indifferently. The vitality needed to mature a seed was just a drop in the bucket. These medicinal herbs didn't need much spiritual energy, so Xiao Chen didn't care too much. Is all of these okay? Asked Yi Xiaoya. Yes. Xiao Chen nodded. He dug a few holes and threw the seeds of the bitter fruit into them. Then, he covered them with soil with his hands and injected vitality into the seeds of the bitter fruit. However, Yi Xiaoya was a little speechless. Xiao Chen, how can you plant medicinal herbs like this? The direction and position of the seeds, the spacing, and the depth of the soil have precise numbers. How can you plant them randomly? How can they germinate? Do you know how to plant spiritual herbs or not? Of course, this is how I plant them. You just have to look at the results. Xiao Chen was too lazy to do those things. Those could only increase the probability of the seeds germinating and breaking out of the soil. But now, with Xiao Chen's input of vitality, these seeds would break out of the soil no matter what. After it was done, Xiao Chen said, "Okay, I'm going to school. You can continue on your own. In fact, sometimes it's not a good thing to be too careful. Your medicinal herbs are too fragile, so it's easy for them to die." Yi Xiaoya was a little speechless. She heard that raising pets was like this, but she had never heard that planting plants was like this. Today was the day of the basketball game between number 1 middle school and number 2 middle school. At noon, Xiao Chen and his classmates got on the first bus. In fact, Xiao Chen played this basketball game mainly to target Qin Jinpeng, but Qin Jinpeng was already dead. The person he wanted to beat the most was Shen Jingxian, but Shen Jingxian had already left. Therefore, this basketball game made Xiao Chen a little sad. Although it was true that you had to get up from where you fell, who was he playing basketball for? Suddenly, Xiao Chen's gaze fell on Xing Menjing, who was not far away. He suddenly realized something. Yes, why did I think so much? In fact, the person I should show the most to is the Missy. She was my fiancée, once. Now that he thought about it carefully, although Qing Menjing didn't like him in number 1 middle school, she would come to watch every basketball game. Even if she didn't say a word, she would still watch from the beginning to the end. Previously, Xiao Chen didn't know who she was looking at, but now that he thought about it, the Missy should be looking at him. She was a kind and conservative girl. Since she was engaged to him, perhaps she had always been paying attention to him. Although she didn't express it, it was the truth. Thinking of this, Xiao Chen felt a little sad. He had hurt her again and again. Thinking about it, when he was pursuing Lin and Shen Jingxian, how could she not be able to lift her head? Even so, she still had to pretend that she didn't care. Even Xiao Chen felt that he was a little too much. Cousin Menjing, was your husband also this good at basketball in the past? Jean Bebe asked. She was a little uncertain now. When did Xiao Chen become so strong? Why did others call him a good-for-nothing when he was so good? If he was good in the past, why didn't he show it? If he wasn't good in the past, then when he was just kicked out of the Xiao family and moved into the villa, she already noticed that he was different, right? He was very good in number 1 middle school. Qing Menjing said, however, in the last game, Qin Jinpeng betrayed him and used some dishonorable means, so he lost, huh? Cousin Menjing, you pay a lot of attention to my cousin-in-law? Jean Bebe asked as if she had discovered something. Not really. I was just bored and watched the game with Jingxian. Qing Menjing said, he wanted to show off to Jingxian, so I satisfied him. Anyway, I don't like him. Oh, what about now? Jean Bebe asked. What now? Qing Menjing was stunned. Chapter 485. Do you like him now? Jean Bebe asked with a smile. Bebe, can you not ask such a boring question? Qing Menjing said impatiently. The basketball game between number 1 middle school and number 2 middle school was an important activity of the two schools every year. It was only held in the 3rd year of high school, so Xiao Chen had never participated in it before. Song Huawu was sitting next to him. Xiao Chen did not expect that she would sit next to him in the car even though they were desk mates in the classroom. This made him a little speechless. Wasn't she trying to attract hatred for him? Xiao Chen knew that Yang Tan was very unhappy when he saw his expression. However, he did not care. If it were not for Yang Tan's identity, Xiao Chen would have beaten him up long ago. How is it? Do you feel like you have returned to number 1 middle school with glory and glory? Song Huawu looked at Xiao Chen and asked teasingly. Don't joke with me. How can it be considered as returning to my hometown? I don't have any achievements. Xiao Chen said with a wry smile. However, when he returned to the Xiao family that day, he had a similar feeling. However, he could not reveal his identity, which made him feel a little regretful. Thinking about it, his grandfather would almost recover tonight and could officially take the medicine. Therefore, Xiao Chen planned to go back and get some medicine dregs for his grandfather after the basketball game. The car soon arrived at the sports field of number 1 middle school. Xiao Chen got off the car with the other students. After a short break, the basketball players went to change their jerseys and get ready for the game. Xiao Chen glanced at the players of number 1 middle school. He knew most of them. There were Chao Yuliang and Du Xiaonan, both of whom did not get along well with him. Du Xiaonan liked Lin, so he was full of hostility towards the former Xiao Chen. However, most of the time, he dared not say anything even though he was angry. He only cooperated with Chao Yuliang to deal with him in the basketball game. Among the remaining 3 players, one was Lu Mingquan, who cooperated with Qin Jinpeng to accuse him of fixing the game. The other was Qin Yenzong, whom he was not familiar with. Xiao Chen did not know the last one. It seemed that he had never seen him before. Was he a new transfer? Judging from his domineering appearance, he did not look like someone easy to get along with, which made Xiao Chen more vigilant. Chao Yuliang also saw Xiao Chen and hesitated. He had talked to Xiao Chen before, but Xiao Chen asked him to play normally and did not ask him to cheat. Therefore, Chao Yuliang did not approach him. However, Du Xiaonan was very arrogant after seeing him. He rushed over and pointed at Xiao Chen. Du Xiao, so you dare to come? Xiao Chen. Aren't you afraid of being beaten to a pulp again? Xiao Chen glanced at him. This fellow was just a pitiful worm trying to curry favor with Lin Kuer. It was just that Lin Kuer did not fancy him at all. In the past, Xiao Chen was unwilling to talk to him. Now, Xiao Chen was even more lazy to talk to him. He did not even answer. However, Xiao Chen's indifference made Du Xiaonan even angrier. Although Xiao Chen was a good-for-nothing before, he was still the young master of the Xiao family. He did not dare to provoke him. Now, Xiao Chen was a piece of trash who was chased out of the family. Du Xiaochen dared to provoke him because of this. Therefore, he was furious. If he was not afraid of the PE teacher's interference, he would have resisted the urge to beat Xiao Chen. He sneered and said, "You think it'll be fine if you don't talk? In a while, I will let you see who is the master of this court. If you lose, don't bother Lin in the future." Idiot. Xiao Chen glanced at him and mouthed, but there was no sound. You're good." Du Xiaonan was unbearably angry, but he could do nothing. The basketball match was about to start, so he could only turn around and go back. "You know him?" After Du Xiaonan went back, the young man that Xiao Chen did not know spoke. "Yes, Brother Han." He used to pursue Lin, but Lin did not like him. However, he used his identity as the young master of the Xiao family to pester Lin. "I did not expect that after being chased out of the Xiao family, he still has the face to come back to play basketball," Du Xiaonan said respectfully to the young man. And Xiao Chen's guess was not wrong. This young man was the transfer student who had just transferred to Du Xiaonan's class. He did not know if he had any background, but his strength was not weak. On the first day, he had a conflict with the school bully, Chao Yuliang. He slapped Chao Yuliang and sent him flying. He spun in the air before landing on the ground. This made Du Xiaonan extremely surprised, and he quickly ran over to acknowledge him as his boss. "Everyone is a good basketball player, so I will not say much about the rules. Please play this friendly match with the mentality of friendship first and competition second." At this time, the PE teacher stood in the middle of the court and used the microphone to speak through the school broadcast. "Attention students on the field, the basketball match is about to begin. Please retreat to the outside of the court and do not affect the normal progress of the basketball match." After hearing the broadcast, the surrounding students all retreated to the outside of the basketball court. Meanwhile, Xiao Chen and the others stood up and began to warm up. At exactly 1:00 in the afternoon, with the whistle of the referee on the court, the friendly match officially began. At the center line of the court, Du Xiaonan jumped high and hit the basketball into Brother Han's hands. His task was considered completed. Obviously, the people from No. 1 middle school had discussed that whoever had the ball would try to give it to Brother Han. Just like the people from No. 2 middle school, they had also agreed in advance that if they had the ball, they would try to give it to Xiao Chen. After Brother Han got the ball, he immediately dodged and bypassed all the students from No. 2 middle school who rushed up to grab the ball. He dribbled the ball so skillfully that he almost looked like a professional basketball player. Xiao Chen did not act rashly. Instead, he kept observing Brother Han. If his guess was right, Brother Han should be a martial artist. He could tell from the inner force that he inadvertently revealed. Although he did not use his inner force, Xiao Chen's current divine sense was very sensitive. If an ordinary martial artist did not deliberately hide it, even if he did not use his inner force, he would still be able to inadvertently reveal some of it. "Come on, come on." The cheers outside the basketball court were obviously for Brother Han. He was a very popular person. At this moment, Lin was mixed in the crowd and watching the game on the court. She did not know who she was here to watch, but she was sure that it was not Brother Han. She hated Brother Han more than anything else. What surprised Lin was that although Du Xiaonan had Brother Han as his boss, Brother Han did one thing in front of her and another behind her back. He clearly knew that Du Xiaonan liked her, but he secretly confessed to her and asked her to be with him. What kind of person was this? He was too dirty. Lin did not like him at all. She always felt that he was just pretending to be cool. He was far worse than Xiao Chen. She did not know why she was comparing herself with Xiao Chen. However, when Lin saw Xiao Chen in the court, she could not move her eyes away. Did she come to see him? Only Lin's eyes were on Xiaoqun. On the side of number 1 middle school, most of the girls were watching Brother Han's cool performance and cheered excitedly at the side. In the midst of the cheers, Brother Han was not in a hurry. He quickly passed people and rushed to the basket at the same time. Swish! Under the basket, Brother Han took off, shot, and scored. The whole process was done in one go. Wow! In an instant, the whole court cheered and the applause was thunderous. The audience of number 1 middle school was obviously larger than that of number 2 middle school. They were all shouting and cheering for Brother Han. Martial artist, he was definitely a martial artist. Now, Xiaoqun could be sure that this Brother Han was undoubtedly a martial artist. But it was really strange that there was such a transfer student in number 1 middle school. Brother Han, so handsome. Brother Han, you're too awesome. Brother Han, we love you. Some of the love-struck girls were shouting loudly. Brother Han's gaze swept across the crowd, and his sharp eyes stopped on Lin Kuer. He looked at Lin Kuer, and smiled faintly. This woman was his. He, Brother Han, had never failed to get what he fancied. Lin Kuer could feel that this Brother Han was looking at her. However, she was bewildered as to why Brother Han was able to find her in the midst of so many people. This feeling made her feel extremely uncomfortable. In fact, in order to avoid Brother Han's harassment, she deliberately found a place that was not where her classmates were gathered and hid in the corner of the crowd. But she could not escape Brother Han's eyes. Fortunately, Brother Han only took a glance and retracted his gaze. This made Lin feel relieved. Maybe she was thinking too much. Brother Han did not actually see her. On the court, Xiaoqun looked at Chao Yuliang. Chao Yuliang shrugged helplessly. He used to be the main force in the basketball match, but now he was completely a foil. He meant to tell Xiaoqun that he could not do anything about this newcomer. At this moment, the members of number 2 middle school were caught off guard. Even Yang Tan and Xia Shibin did not expect that there would be such a fierce person in number 1 middle school. The whole process was done by one person. Of course, if Xiaoqun could see that this Brother Han was a martial artist, Yang Tan could naturally see it too. He worked on the front line of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau for many years. He was too familiar with martial artists and inner strength. Brother Han's inadvertent display of inner strength let him know that this person was a martial artist. Thinking of this, Yang Tan was a little angry. F***ck, I haven't even shown my inner strength, and someone else has? Don't you know the rules of the secular world? Yang Tan was playing basketball for Song Huawu to see. He was now on the same team as Xiaoqun, so he was not in the mood to create any obstacles for Xiaoqun. After all, everyone was on the same team. If there was internal strife, it would only be a joke to more people. Therefore, Yang Tan vented his anger on Brother Han. The game continued, but Xiaoqun did not give Brother Han another chance. His teammates from number 2 middle school passed the ball to him, and the ball never left his hand. He directly dribbled the ball and advanced toward the opponent's half-court. Unsurprisingly, Brother Han went to intercept Xiaoqun. In order to show his strength, Yang Tan quickly blocked Brother Han's side. While everyone was unprepared, he threw a punch at Brother Han's lower abdomen. Brother Han's eyes narrowed, and then, seemingly casually stretched out his hand and blocked Yang Tan's fist. Suddenly, Yang Tan's whole body was cold, as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. However, his body could not move, as if he was frozen into an ice cube. He stood there in a daze, unable to do anything, like a silly statue. Chapter 486. After Brother Han's attack succeeded, he did not bother him. He directly bypassed him and ran towards Xiaoqun. Although Xiaoqun was dribbling the ball, his divine sense was locked on Brother Han. If there was an opponent in the arena, it would be this guy. Although he did not know what method Brother Han used, seeing Yang Tan standing there stupidly, Xiaoqun knew that this guy was not simple. He was a character. He did not wait for Brother Han to run over and directly jumped to shoot. Brother Han was stunned. He did not expect Xiao Chen to jump to shoot before reaching the three-point line. What kind of thinking was this? Could he score? But very soon, Brother Han knew that he had underestimated Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen really succeeded in shooting and got 3 points. Just now, Brother Han had only scored 2 points, but Xiao Chen caught up in an instant. This really made his face a little embarrassed. He heard that Kerlin liked to watch basketball games, so he came to play basketball. Otherwise, he would not be so bored to play this kind of game. He thought that this was his home field, he could play freely and watch his performance, but he did not expect to be directly slapped in the face. He looked coldly at Xiao Chen and gave him the middle finger. F***ck your mother's balls, did I offend you? Xiao Chen looked at Brother Han in bewilderment. It was really inexplicable. I succeeded in shooting, did you have to do this? You succeeded in shooting just now, but I did not give you the middle finger. This time, Brother Han regained control of the ball. Through a series of cooperation with his teammates, he broke through the half-court and prepared for a layup. Go down. Xiao Chen directly ran over, jumped, and blocked the shot. Thinking back, he was humiliated like this in the past, but now, he could humiliate others. Even if he used the ability of a cultivator, there were no real moves. Even Yang Tan could not see the strength of Xiao Chen because there were no fluctuations of martial force and he did not reveal his strength. What he saw was only the strength of Xiao Chen that was less than a level 1 martial artist. The rest was Xiao Chen's super high jumping ability. Pa! Xiao Chen swatted the basketball that Brother Han threw away as if he was swatting a fly. At that moment, the scene froze. The players on the court were stunned, and the audience outside the court was stunned. Then, the cheers of Second High rang out, and the basketball rolled out of the court along with the cheers of the audience. Xiao Chen is so handsome. All hail Xiao Chen. Cousin-in-law, I love you. Jean Bebe shouted. Xiao Chen did not expect her to shout so loudly. However, in the cheers of the crowd, Xiao Chen still heard a somewhat weak voice. It was Kerlin. She was cheering for him. Xiao Chen's spectacular block made some of the students from No. 1 middle school who had watched Xiao Chen's last basketball match recall that block. Xiao Chen left after that. Today, Xiao Chen used his strong basketball skills to announce to everyone that he had made a strong comeback. The home court of the first high school was still Xiao Chen's. What match fixing? What cheating? All these rumors were dispelled at this moment. No one thought about Xiao Chen, who left dejectedly. In their eyes, there was only Xiao Chen who showed his invincible power. Brother Han was a little dumbfounded. He watched Xiao Chen run away. He did not believe that as a high-level martial artist and a devil cultivator, he could not beat an ordinary person. He could feel that when Xiao Chen blocked the shot, he did not use any internal force at all. It was like an ordinary person had trained to the limit, different from Yang Tan. But it was such an ordinary person that made him a little crazy. At that moment, his teammates all had sullen expressions on their faces. In their usual training, they thought that it would be easy and pleasant for Brother Han to win the basketball game alone. Who would have thought that things would turn out contrary to their expectations? It was not the case at all. The morale of the team members of the first high school plummeted. Brother Han ran to Xiao Chen's side and said with a sneer, "Boy, you won't be so lucky next time." "Oh," Xiao Chen responded indifferently and ignored him. "Damn, I'm talking to you." Brother Han was angry. No matter where he was the center of attention. Today, he was humiliated by an ordinary person. How could he accept it? Oh. Xiao Chen was still running. "Can't you say something else?" Brother Han was angry. Motherf asterisk cur. After Xiao Chen said that, he went to grab the ball. With the ball in his hand, he accelerated and instantly shook off Brother Han. He ran to the opponent's half-court and shot directly without waiting for Brother Han to catch up. A goal. When Brother Han ran over, Xiao Chen had already scored. He was furious and glared at Xiao Chen, but Xiao Chen turned around and ran to grab the ball again. At this time, after being scored by Xiao Chen one after another, the team members of the first high school were not as enthusiastic as before. But it was no wonder. They had agreed to watch Brother Han play alone. Now, Brother Han could not cover him anymore. Moreover, they did not discuss cooperation in advance. They unanimously decided to pass the ball to Brother Han when they got it. They would not play by themselves at all. Seeing that his team's morale was low, Brother Han shouted, "Everyone, stay alert. Du Xiaonan, you go and intercept that Xiao Chen. Defend to the death." "Yes." Du Xiaonan replied loudly. Then, he ran to Xiao Chen's side with a sinister smile and looked at him provocatively. However, that expression was completely ignored by Xiao Chen, as if he did not see it. The game continued. Xiao Chen ran forward and Du Xiaonan also ran forward. However, he had used this trick too many times by Yang Tan. Yang Tan, a martial artist, could not affect Xiao Chen, let alone Du Xiaonan. Soon, Xiao Chen got the ball. Du Xiaonan saw that it was not good. He directly stretched out his hands to block in front of Xiao Chen, not letting him pass. Xiao Chen suddenly smiled and shot directly outside the half-court line. So, the ball drew a beautiful parabola and went in. Although it was only 3 points, it was shocking enough. Cheers came from the audience. Even Yang Tan had to admire Xiao Chen at this moment. He was frozen for a moment and just recovered. His heart was a little gloomy. Damn, this Brother Han is actually a martial artist and a demonic cultivator. I need to investigate him. Du Xiaonan gritted his teeth and clenched his fists. He did not expect Xiao Chen to be able to shoot successfully in such a situation. Looking at Du Xiaonan's incomparably sullen look, Brother Han was actually quite sullen. He was a martial artist and his opponent was an ordinary person. He was very unhappy that his opponent had completely won him with basketball skills. However, there was nothing he could do. He could not beat him up, right? That would be a complete loss. The game started again. The audience cheered for Xiao Chen. Even the students from number 1 middle school who used to think that Xiao Chen was not bad also cheered for Xiao Chen. After all, Xiao Chen was from number 1 middle school. It was not shameful to be defeated by him. This time, Brother Han was furious. After serving, he went forward to intercept the ball. After getting the ball, Brother Han was like a galloping horse. He dribbled the ball straight to the half-court of number 2 middle school, took off, and shot. However, he did not expect that when the ball was about to enter the basket, it suddenly changed direction and bounced to the side. The shot failed. Originally, Brother Han was quite happy when he saw that Xiao Chen ran over too late. When he saw that Xiao Chen did not stop him, he thought that Xiao Chen could not stop him and was waiting to snatch the ball from under the basket. However, he really could not stop him in time. Xiao Chen was indeed trying to snatch the ball, but the key problem was that he did not make the shot. He did not know why there were times when he made a mistake. However, not to mention him, even if a martial arts master came, they would also make a mistake. When the ball left their hands, it would not be controlled by their own will. However, Xiao Chen could control it. He could control it through the air and easily change the direction of the ball. Xiao Chen snatched the ball and ran. Brother Han was so angry that he jumped up and down and chased after him. Wow! They thought that Brother Han would definitely make the shot, but he missed by a bit. This made the students from number 1 middle school who were ready to cheer for him very disappointed. However, when the students from number 2 middle school saw that Xiao Chen snatched the ball again, they were very excited and shouted, "Xiao Chen." Of course, Xiao Chen did not overdo it. If Brother Han could not catch up with him after using his inner force, then there would be a problem. However, when Brother Han was about to catch up with him, he directly shot the ball. Brother Han was so angry that he slapped his thigh, but there was nothing he could do. This Xiao Chen actually knew how to shoot from a long distance, and he was very accurate. This made him very speechless. How could he stop him? When he caught up to Xiao Chen, he shot the ball. He was able to shoot from so far away, it was impossible to guard against. Xiao Chen's amazing shot once again attracted the screams of the students from number 2 middle school. Even some of the girls from number 1 middle school started to turn around and cheer for Xiao Chen, shouting Xiao Chen's name. In the past, Xiao Chen was actually very popular in number 1 middle school. Don't think that he was a hedonistic young master or even a wastrel. Some of the girls from ordinary families also wanted to get close to him and get Xiao Chen's favor. However, at that time, Xiao Chen was only interested in Shen Jingxian and Ke Lin. He also had Xing Menjing's fiancée, so the others had no chance at all. Damn it. Brother Han took a deep breath and looked at Xiao Chen coldly. Du Xiaonan walked over and said, "Brother Han, why don't we play some dirty tricks on him?" Yes. Brother Han originally disdained to use these tricks. If Yang Tan hadn't used them before he counterattacked, he wouldn't have used them at all. No matter what, he was a martial artist and had the pride of a martial artist. But now, perhaps because Xiao Chen was too outstanding and the situation on his side was too bad, Brother Han was worried that if this continued, they would completely lose, so he agreed. In a while, you go and find a way to hurt Xiao Chen, even if it's a foul. I understand. Du Xiaonan nodded maliciously. He looked at Xiao Chen and revealed a sinister smile. Xiao Chen also noticed that Brother Han and Du Xiaonan were a little dirty over there, but he didn't care. The way he shot, any tactics were ineffective against him. The game continued. Du Xiaonan was still the same as before, defending against Xiao Chen, but this time, he was more arrogant than before. While Xiao Chen was not defending, he fiercely punched at Xiao Chen. Chapter 487. If Xiao Chen was an ordinary person, he would probably pass out after being punched by Du Xiaonan. Xiao Chen was a little annoyed. Did he provoke him? He smiled coldly and dribbled the ball in front of him. Just as Du Xiaonan's punch hit the ball. Bang! There was a loud sound. How hard was the basketball? Du Xiaonan attacked with all his strength again and hit the ball directly. He immediately cried out in pain, grimaced in pain, and howled while holding his hands. Xiao Chen ignored him and directly passed him to shoot the ball and score. Brother Han's face was very gloomy. He had been observing Xiao Chen and Du Xiaonan. When he saw Xiao Chen dribbling the ball in front of him, he knew that something was wrong. Sure enough, Du Xiaonan, that idiot, had hit the ball with a punch. It was his own doing, so it was impossible to judge Xiao Chen for a foul. There was no other way, Brother Han could only do it himself. Taking the risk of being warned, he came to Xiao Chen's side, and while everyone was not paying attention, he stretched out his finger and poked Xiao Chen's waist. A cold demonic energy was urged out and went straight into Xiao Chen's body. Although this demonic energy did not have any effect on Xiao Chen, that was because Xiao Chen was a cultivator. If it was an ordinary person, if such a cold demonic energy was injected into the waist, there would definitely be problems with the kidneys in the future. Even if it was not crippled, it would be impotent. Therefore, Xiao Chen was angry. As a martial artist, how could he use such a sinister method to attack an ordinary person? This Brother Han did not seem to be a good person. Xiao Chen blacklisted him. If there was a chance, he would kill him. But now that they were on the court, Xiao Chen could only endure it for now. However, at this moment, Xiao Chen also made a move and shot directly. After he scored, he stood in place, motionless, as if he was frozen. Brother Han was very annoyed. He had been frozen, but this guy still struggled at the last moment, allowing him to score again. In the following game, because Xiao Chen was frozen, Brother Han scored again and again. After a while, the score was only 4 points away. Without Xiao Chen, even Yang Tan couldn't resist Brother Han's attack. Yang Tan looked at Xiao Chen and knew that Xiao Chen had been tricked. If it was in school, he would be happy to see Xiao Chen get tricked, but outside, if second high school lost, it would be very embarrassing for him. In desperation, he was prepared to be ruthless and directly stop the match. Although he didn't know what second high meant, he still agreed. Yang Tan walked towards Xiao Chen and glanced at him. Did you fall for it? That brother Han or whatever is a martial artist. I was also hit just now. I just recovered a little. Xiao Chen nodded. This bastard is more cunning than you. Yang Tan's face darkened. He snorted and walked towards Brother Han. Brother Han was a little puzzled. What was Yang Tan doing here? When Yang Tan approached, he heard him say, "Come with me." Who are you? Brother Han was taken aback and immediately said, "Do you think I'll come just because you told me to? Don't talk nonsense. You are also a martial artist. We all understand." As he spoke, Yang Tan took the lead and walked to a place where there was no one. Brother Han hesitated for a moment, but he still got up and followed. He said, "If you have something to say, just say it. I am from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau." Who asked you to use your martial artist cultivation on an ordinary person? Yang Tan said coldly, "Which family are you from? Tell me your name, otherwise, don't blame me for being rude." Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Brother Han was slightly taken aback, but he smiled and said, "Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Just tell me." Yang Tan didn't talk nonsense. He directly took out an ID and threw it in front of Brother Han. He said, "See for yourself if you don't believe me." Brother Han glanced at Yang Tan's ID and suddenly smiled. Team C leader, I'm sorry. You can't control me. I am from a sect. You. Yang Tan didn't expect Brother Han to not give him face. Even if he was in Team C, responsible for managing the families and the summit in the secular world, he was at least a member of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Although these sects and martial arts families were managed by Team B, he still had face. Alright, you don't have to say any more. You don't have to scare me. This competition is very important to me. I want to win. Tell that Xiao Chen not to go against me, and I won't make a move again. Brother Han said coldly. Alright, you have guts. Don't fall into my hands. Yang Tan sneered and left. He felt a little aggrieved. He really couldn't control these people from the sects, but it didn't mean that he couldn't take a roundabout way. He decided to go back and investigate this Brother Han's background, then find a reason to mess with him. The competition started again. This time, Yang Tan stared at Brother Han. He would go wherever this person went, and he was on guard. It was impossible for Brother Han to use the same trick to stop him. Don't forget that Yang Tan was very strong. If he really fought with Brother Han, he definitely wouldn't fall behind. Brother Han was annoyed by Yang Tan's stare. There was no other way. Brother Han could only watch as Xiao Chen continued to score. However, he was a little puzzled. This Xiao Chen recovered really quickly. Didn't he destroy his kidney? Previously, when Xiao Chen stood on the spot and didn't move, the audience outside the field was guessing what happened to Xiao Chen. Even Cheng Menjing was a little worried, and Kerlin was even more so. But now that they saw that Xiao Chen was full of energy again, they couldn't help but feel relieved. It seemed that Xiao Chen was still very strong. Xiao Chen scored again and again. By the end of the half, Second High School was already far ahead by more than 30 points. Brother Han was being closely watched by Yang Tan, leaving him at his wit's end. The two of them couldn't really use their real martial arts skills to fight. Don't be fooled by Brother Han's relaxed words. In reality, he was still somewhat afraid of Yang Tan. If it was a small soldier from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, he could ignore it, but how could he ignore the deputy leader of Team C? Even if Team C couldn't control him, how could he know that he had no friends in Team B? When the time came, he would let Team B deal with him. Although he didn't commit a big crime, he was afraid that it would be very troublesome. Therefore, the two of them were at each other's throats, restraining each other. It allowed Xiao Chen to show off his prowess. Although Yang Tan was also a little unhappy that the limelight was taken by Xiao Chen, if Second High School lost, it would be even more embarrassing for him. On the other hand, when the physical education teacher of Second High School saw that Yang Tan was pestering Brother Han and competing with him, he was immediately very pleased. It seemed that he was right. Although Yang Tan's ball skills were a little bad, no one could compete with him when it came to pestering. In the second half, it directly became Xiao Chen's solo performance. Even the members of First High School, led by Chao Yuliang, were a little bit giving up. Only Du Xiaonan was still running around trying to defend, but he couldn't defend at all. Xia Shibin saw that he was quite annoying, so he found an opportunity to make a small move and directly knocked him down. Second High School, the final victory. The audience cheered. This was because there was actually no suspense in the second half of the game. The whole game was Xiao Chen's performance. There was no longer any morale. The other members of Second High School had also become spectators, only watching Xiao Chen shoot and perform. Although First High School had lost, the sports team leader did not lose too much face. In the past, First High School had won more, but this year, although they had lost, he said, Xiao Chen is a student from our First High School. In the past, when Xiao Chen was in our First High School, he was a good basketball player. Therefore, I am not surprised that Second High School won with Xiao Chen participating in the game. Although this sports team leader's speech sounded a little like he was exonerating himself, what he said was indeed the truth. Second High School's sports team leader was very happy and said a lot. Although Xiao Chen was a transfer, he now represented Second High School, right? The annual basketball game had come to an end. The students of Second High School also boarded the bus and prepared to leave. However, Yang Tan pointed at Brother Han and made a gesture, indicating that he would not let him off. Brother Han watched as Yang Tan boarded the bus and frowned slightly. He did not expect that someone from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau would attend Second High School. Now that he had offended them, he did not know if there would be trouble in the future. However, he quickly let go of this thought. So what if they were from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? He did not commit any crimes. It was just a small problem. When the time came, the school would definitely protect him. When he turned his head and saw the dejected Du Xiaonan, Brother Han smiled and said, Du Xiaonan, look for Kerlin to go out and eat something with us? Sure. Du Xiaonan suddenly perked up. He did not know that Brother Han was also interested in Kerlin. He thought that Brother Han was simply trying to matchmake him. After finding Kerlin, Du Xiaonan said, Kerlin, Brother Han said that we should go out and eat something together. How about it? It's my treat. Oh, you guys go ahead. Kerlin naturally did not want to have anything to do with Brother Han and Du Xiaonan. She shook her head repeatedly and said, I have to go back to study. After saying that, Kerlin quickly walked to the teaching building. Brother Han looked at Kerlin's back with a flash of desire in his eyes. He must have this woman. But on the surface, he pretended as if nothing had happened and said, then let's go eat together. Let's go. Okay, Brother Han. Du Xiaonan nodded repeatedly. Because of the basketball game, there were no classes in the afternoon in Class 1, Grade 12 of the Second High School. Those who were willing to go back to school for self-study could do so. Those who were unwilling could leave school early. Xiao Chen planned to send the medicine to his grandfather, so he left after informing the eldest Mississippi. He left the car for Jean Bebe to drive and called a taxi back to the villa. He took the medicine dregs and called another taxi to the Xiao family's mansion. Xiao Hai was a little surprised that White Fox came to the Xiao family at this time, but he still welcomed him warmly. Hero White Fox, why are you here at this time? Grandpa Xiao should have recovered, right? I concocted some medicine for him. Decoct this medicinal herb for him to consume. In about a week's time, his body will be as good as new. If supplemented with training, it's not impossible for him to regain his previous strength. Xiao Chen said as he passed the medicinal dregs in his hand to Xiao Hai. Ah, thank you so much. Xiao Hai took the medicine dregs and said quickly, Hero White Fox, please come in and have a seat. I'll ask someone to serve tea. Chapter 488. No need, I'll go see Grandpa Xiao. Xiao Chen waved his hand and rejected Xiao Hai's politeness. Coming to the Xiao family was actually the same as returning to his own home. He wasn't used to Xiao Hai's politeness. That's good too. Xiao Hai nodded and brought Xiao Chen to Xiao Yuanshan's room. At this moment, Xiao Yuanshan was doing some regular exercises. Seeing White Fox coming in, he was slightly startled and smiled. "White Fox hero, you're here again. My illness is almost healed, I really have to thank you." "Grandpa Xiao, you don't have to be so polite, and you don't have to call me hero. I'm of the same generation as Xiao Chen, you can just call me White Fox, and Uncle Xiao too," Xiao Chen quickly said. Xiao Hai was slightly stunned, but in his heart, could it be that White Fox also took a fancy to Xiao Xiao? So he placed me on the same generation as Xiao Chen? Thinking about it, it wasn't impossible, but it wasn't a good question to ask, so he just nodded. "All right, then I'll do as you say. Grandpa Xiao, I'll help you check the poison in your body again," Xiao Chen said and went to check Xiao Yuanshan's pulse. "Good, that's great, White Fox, you're too polite, I'm fine now." Xiao Yuanshan nodded and said, "Do you want to eat here tonight?" "It's fine, I still have something to do." Xiao Chen shook his head, he still had to go cook for Missy. He didn't know why, but for Qing Menjiang, Xiao Chen's heart couldn't let go. There was a faint feeling that he couldn't let go. "All right then." Xiao Yuanshan didn't force him to stay, he just said, "If there's a chance in the future, you and Xiao Chen can come together, I'll entertain you again." "All right, there will be a chance." Xiao Chen smiled bitterly in his heart. "Let me and Xiao Chen come together? I won't have such a chance in this lifetime. Grandpa Xiao, if you don't have any more questions, then I'll take my leave first. Take this medicine once a day and endure for half an hour, no more and no less. After taking it, you must train to recover your inner strength as soon as possible," Xiao Chen instructed. "Okay, I understand." Xiao Hai nodded and said, "How many times do I need to take this medicine?" "There is no special time limit. Uncle Xiao, you can do as you see fit," Xiao Chen said. "All right then, I'll see how it goes," Xiao Hai replied. "Then I'll leave first. You don't need to see me off. Uncle Xiao, please boil the medicine for Grandpa Xiao," Xiao Chen said. "Okay, then I won't send you off." Xiao Hai looked at Xiao Chen with a strange gaze. He thought of something but didn't say it. However, Xiao Xiao shouldn't be out of school yet, right? However, White Fox obviously didn't want him to interfere too much in his matters. If White Fox didn't say it, Xiao Hai couldn't say much either. Xiao Chen was indeed going to find Xiao Xiao. He didn't know that Xiao Hai had already seen the scene last time. If he knew, he probably wouldn't know whether to laugh or cry. This second uncle's misunderstanding was too deep. He actually thought that I have that kind of relationship with Xiao Xiao. Xiao Chen didn't drive today, so he thought that the Xiao family wouldn't pay attention if he left alone or not. He quickly left Xiao Yuanshan's villa and walked into Xiao Zhao's villa. At this moment, Xiao Xiao shouldn't be out of school yet. Xiao Chen directly opened the door and entered the villa, waiting for Xiao Xiao inside. Anyway, it was his sister's room. Xiao Chen didn't have anything to avoid. After entering, he didn't have any intentions. He casually opened the laptop on Xiao Zhao's desk and prepared to play online for a while. The computer turned on. On the desktop, there was a text document with email account written on it. Xiao Chen was a little puzzled. Did Xiao Zhao's email account need to be a separate text document? Xiao Chen had nothing to do. While the computer was connected to the Wi-Fi signal, he casually opened it. However, when Xiao Chen saw the email address on it, he was shocked. This was actually the account that repeatedly sent him emails. Previously, it was this email address that reminded him of the relationship between Qiao Yuliang and Qing Mengxiang. It was also this email address that told him that the Xiao family was in trouble. However, this email address was actually Xiao Zhao's? Otherwise, why would it appear on Xiao Zhao's computer? Moreover, there was an email password in the text. It was obviously Xiao Zhao's without a doubt. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a password. Xiao Chen took a deep breath. He quickly opened the browser and logged into this email. Sure enough, he found the emails that were sent to him in the sent emails. This discovery made Xiao Chen's mood a little heavy. He closed the web page and the laptop. He was no longer in the mood to go online. Perhaps, he had misunderstood Xiao Xiao in the past. It seemed that Xiao Xiao had always been concerned about me. Otherwise, Xiao Xiao wouldn't have sent these things to me. However, why did Xiao Xiao act so indifferent to me in front of others? Could it be? I suddenly remembered that sometimes the Missy treated me like this in front of others. Could it be a disguise? At this moment, Xiao Chen figured out some things. Wasn't Xiao Xiao's disdain for him a form of protection? If in the eyes of outsiders, Xiao Xiao was still the same as before and maintained a good relationship with me, then why was he kicked out of the Xiao family? However, this made Xiao Chen a little puzzled. This was because before he was kicked out of the Xiao family, Xiao Xiao seemed to be very indifferent to him. However, Xiao Xiao's secret concern for me was real. That day when she recognized me, it wasn't because I was the white fox that Xiao Xiao recognized me snobbishly. Before that, Xiao Xiao had secretly reminded me several times. If it was said that Xiao Xiao's indifference to me was protection, then what was the past? Xiao Chen couldn't figure it out. He subconsciously opened Xiao Xiao's drawer and looked around casually. It wasn't that Xiao Chen wanted to peek at his sister's privacy, but he was a little puzzled and did it casually. Suddenly, Xiao Chen's eyes fell on a few pink receipts in the drawer. This was a bank card receipt. When Xiao Chen saw the familiar card number and password, he was shocked again. He remembered this card number and password very clearly. At that time, it inexplicably appeared in Tang Tang's pocket. He thought it was Yu Xiaochuan's money to pick up girls, but it didn't seem to be the case, so he remembered the card number at that time. Unexpectedly. Thinking about that day, Xiao Xiao was indeed there. It seemed that Xiao Xiao must have given it to him. So, Xiao Xiao had indeed been paying attention to me and secretly helped me. This also made Xiao Chen more puzzled. Why did Xiao Xiao used to be indifferent to him? Just when Xiao Chen was a little puzzled, the sound of the door opening came from outside the villa. It should be Xiao Xiao coming back. Xiao Chen didn't close the drawer. He just stared at the bank account receipt in a daze. Ah. Brother, why are you here? As soon as Xiao Xiao entered the door, she was shocked. She didn't expect that there was someone in the room. Even if she saw clearly who it was, she was still scared. Ah, Xiao Xiao, you are back. Xiao Chen raised his head and looked at Xiao Xiao. His eyes were full of love. It turned out that his sister had never given up on him. Xiao Chen was very moved. Yeah, brother, why are you so early? Why did you come home today? Huh? You touched my stuff. Xiao Xiao was shocked when she saw her drawer was opened. She ran over quickly and closed the drawer with a quang dang sound. However, she seemed to be worried. She opened the drawer again and took out a diary from the innermost part. When she saw the lock on it, she heaved a sigh of relief and said with some vigilance, Brother, why did you touch my drawer? I was just bored, so I just looked around. Xiao Chen was a little embarrassed. Don't you know that you can't look at a girl's privacy? Xiao Xiao glared at Xiao Chen. Did you touch my diary? Ugh. No, there is a lock on it. How can I touch it? Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. Even if I have no morals, I can't peek at my sister's diary, right? Oh. Xiao Xiao nodded as if she was relieved, but she immediately became vigilant. No, the door of my villa room is obviously locked. How did you get in? Ugh. Xiao Chen was stunned. He came in with his energy, but he couldn't explain it. I used to have a spare key, oh? Xiao Xiao looked at Xiao Chen strangely. Brother, are you a siscon? Why did you keep my room key for no reason? Are you thinking of doing something to me one day? How is this possible? Xiao Chen suddenly broke into a sweat. I think it's very likely. Why don't you just admit it, said Xiao Xiao. Cough cough. Okay, Xiao Xiao, let's not talk about this. Xiao Chen wasn't in the mood to joke. He said to Xiao Xiao solemnly, Xiao Xiao, thank you, thank me? Thank me for what? Xiao Xiao was stunned. Xiao Chen didn't say anything. He just took out the bank account from the drawer and put it on the table. He believed that Xiao Xiao should understand. Sure enough, Xiao Xiao's face changed, and she said, brother, you know. Thank you, Xiao Xiao. I misunderstood you before. I thought that you looked down on me, so you were cold to me. But now that I think about it, you were afraid that people would think that I have a relationship with the Xiao family, so you deliberately did this, and then you secretly helped me. Xiao Chen said, I also know about the email you sent me. Oh. Xiao Xiao looked like she didn't care, but in her heart, she was a little happy. Brother finally knew that she was good to him. In fact, she also hoped that one day Xiao Chen could find out, but sometimes she didn't want him to find out. But when he really found out, she didn't expect her heart to be very relaxed. Chapter 489. Xiao Xiao, I have a question. Since you've always cared about me, why, when I wasn't chased out of the Xiao clan, you were indifferent to me? It was as if you hated this good-for-nothing brother of yours. Xiao Chen finally asked the question in his heart. Did I? I don't think so. Xiao Zhao's eyes flickered. Yes. Xiao Chen nodded. I don't know about that. Maybe I thought it was embarrassing for you to pursue Shen Jingxian and Shen Jingxian ignored you. Xiao Xiao said, moreover, you and Qing Menjing are engaged. I'm still sticking to you. What if she misunderstands? Ah. Xiao Chen suddenly didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You are my sister. Why would they misunderstand? I don't know about that. I forgot, said Xiao Xiao. Okay. Xiao Chen saw that Xiao Xiao didn't say anything, so he had to give up. Right, how is your relationship with Qing Mingxiang? Asked Xiao Chen. It's over. We broke up. Xiao Xiao said, the Xiao family is like this, and he didn't do anything about it. Why should I be with him? It's enough for me to have my brother. I don't need him. Ugh, but it's different. Although I can indeed save the Xiao family's loss. Qing Mingxiang is your boyfriend. He represents the Qing family. You should also understand. Just like when I was rejected by the Qing family and was kicked out of the Xiao family, Menjing was also powerless. But in fact, her heart is still quite good, but she can't change the family's decision. Xiao Chen said, I think Qing Mingxiang should be the same. Although Xiao Chen didn't like Qing Mingxiang, since it was Xiao Zhao's choice, he could only support it. Xiao Xiao listened to Xiao Chen's words. Instead of being happy, she glared at Xiao Chen. She was a little angry and suddenly shouted, Brother, do you understand? I'm with him because I'm afraid that he will harm you. I'm going to spy on him. I don't like him. Now that you're so powerful, you're not afraid of him at all. Why should I go? Am I going to look for trouble? I've never liked him. Ah. Xiao Chen stared blankly at Xiao Xiao. Although he already knew that Xiao Xiao was secretly concerned about him, he was still shocked when he heard Xiao Xiao say this. For his sake, Xiao Xiao actually compromised and pretended to be with Qing Mingxiang just to spy on him. At this moment, Xiao Chen turned silent. Xiao Xiao was too good to him, and he had misunderstood her in the past. This made Xiao Chen feel apologetic. He took a deep breath and said, Xiao Xiao, thank you. Today, I, your brother, solemnly promise you that in the future, no one will be able to force you. If you don't like it, not even if it's Grandpa's promise. If it's something you like, I'll definitely support it. Really? After hearing Xiao Chen's words, the anger on Xiao Zhao's face dissipated a lot. Her beautiful eyes flickered with a strange light. You promise? I promise. Xiao Chen nodded. If I don't like it, no one can force me? Xiao Xiao asked. Yes. Xiao Chen nodded again. If I like it, you'll support me? Xiao Xiao asked again. Yes, if he doesn't agree, I'll beat him up until he agrees. Xiao Chen smiled. Huh, good. Xiao Xiao laughed and hugged Xiao Chen. She said coquettishly, Brother, you're so good to me. Aren't you the same? I've neglected you in the past. Xiao Chen sighed. In that case, I'll tell the Qing family to forget about it. If Qing Mingxiang continues to pester you, I'll kill him. Yes. Xiao Xiao said happily. By the way, that Qi Zhigao. Xiao Chen asked again. I don't like him either. At most, we can be good friends. If there's no other choice, then I'll choose him. But now, with you supporting me, I won't choose. Xiao Xiao said. Besides, now that the Xiao family has White Fox as their backer, there's no need for a marriage. Hee hee. Xiao Chen smiled. Xiao Xiao was happy, and he felt happy too. Then. I'll go first. Menjing is still waiting for me to cook for her. Ah. Xiao Xiao heard it and frowned immediately. Brother, why does she want you to cook for her? She's your fiancé, so she should have the awareness of a fiancé. If you were still the previous Xiao Chen, I wouldn't say anything if she was a little stronger. But you're White Fox. Who doesn't want to be with you? She doesn't want it. There are many beautiful women waiting in line at the door. She even wants you to cook for her. Well, Xiao Xiao, in fact, Menjing is not bad. Xiao Chen waved his hand and said, in the past, when I pursued Shen Jingxian in front of her, she must have felt very sad. You may not understand, but, put yourself in her shoes. How embarrassed was Menjing at that time? Why don't I understand? Xiao Xiao muttered. Forget it. Go back, brother. But you have to come home often. Okay. Xiao Chen nodded. Then, he left Xiao Zhao's villa and disappeared into the night. When he returned home at night, Qing Menjing was already home. She saw Xiao Chen and said, Xiao Chen, don't cook tonight. Just eat something. You must be tired from the basketball match today, right? Oh. Cousin Menjing is starting to care about her cousin-in-law. Jean Bebe said with a smile. This is not concern. This is human nature. Qing Menjing said, are you going to ask him to cook? Oh. I don't think that's necessary, Jean Bebe said. It's okay. I'm not tired. Xiao Chen said with a smile, today's basketball match was very easy. I didn't spend much effort. After saying that, Xiao Chen went into the kitchen. After a while, a table of delicious food was served. When he came back with the bowls and chopsticks, he found that Yi Xiaoye had also come down. He could not help but say with a smile, you're fast. Of course. I went to check my herbs and came here. Yi Xiaoye said proudly, Menjing lied to me and said that she wouldn't cook tonight. Thanks to my wit, I would have missed it. Who lied to you? I just thought that Xiao Chen must be exhausted from today's basketball match. So, I don't want him to cook, Qing Menjing snorted. You even know how to care about others? Yi Xiaoye widened her eyes in surprise. You. Qing Menjing was so angry that her chest was heaving. Hey, don't be too angry. There are so many delicacies. Don't be too full later. Yi Xiaoye said. You. Qing Menjing was so angry that she almost choked. It's okay, cousin Menjing. If we can't eat now, we can take the food to the bedroom and eat slowly. But some people won't be able to eat it, Jean Bebe said slowly. Oh, that's true. Qing Menjing nodded with appreciation. You. Yi Xiaoye glared at Jean Bebe. She was also very angry. Seeing that Jean Bebe had successfully turned the tables, Qing Menjing was also happy. She started to eat. After eating, Qing Menjing and Jean Bebe went to rest. Xiaochen went back to his room to brew medicine and prepare for his cultivation. Yi Xiaoye went upstairs to play with her flowers for a while. After Xiaochen drank the medicine and finished his training, he went upstairs to find Yi Xiaoye for dual cultivation. Yi Xiaoye saw that the white fox came quite early today. She was a little surprised. "Why are you so early today?" "I came because I didn't have anything to do," Xiaochen said. "Stop talking nonsense. Take off your clothes," Yi Xiaoye replied with an "oh," and thought to herself, "Why does it sound like an adulterous couple having an affair?" But she still took off her clothes and began to do dual cultivation with Xiaochen. Yi Xiaoye was already an evil cultivator at the peak of the 6th level of her internal force. If she worked harder, she might be able to reach the 7th level. Therefore, she had been practicing hard these days. Although Yi Xiaoye also knew that it was wrong to practice with the white fox naked every day, she couldn't resist the temptation of improving her strength. This kind of dual cultivation brought her so many benefits that she couldn't stop. Every day, she tried to persuade herself not to go on like this. How could there be such a pure friendship between men and women? Even if there was, something would happen sooner or later if they kept taking off their clothes every day. Fortunately, the white fox had always been very well behaved. It wouldn't be touchy. After the dual cultivation, it would put on its clothes and leave. Why does it feel like a guest? After Xiaochen finished the dual cultivation, he quickly left. He was in a hurry to inject his primordial energy into the seeds in the flower bed. There were more seeds buried this time, so he had to be more attentive. Otherwise, what if the seeds weren't ready after bragging in front of Yi Xiaoye? Therefore, Xiaochen changed his clothes and began to busy himself in the flower bed. Yi Xiaoye, on the other hand, was in her room consolidating the cultivation strength she obtained from the dual cultivation today. Every time they cultivated, she made great progress, and she was very happy. If this continued, breaking through to the Master Warrior realm wouldn't be a dream anymore. Click, there was a soft sound. Yi Xiaoye was startled. She turned her head alertly and saw a black shadow appear outside the window. Although there were curtains on the window, the curtains were set off by the moonlight. She could still vaguely see the situation outside. Yi Xiaoye was startled to see someone on her windowsill. This person couldn't be the white fox. After all, the white fox walked into her room openly every time. Besides, the white fox had just left, so how could he come back? At this thought, Yi Xiaoye couldn't help but feel nervous. Subconsciously, she grabbed a nightgown and covered herself with it. Meanwhile, the black figure seemed to have opened the window and jumped into the room. "Yi Bia, I finally found you." After the black shadow entered the room, he saw Yi Xiaoye's appearance clearly with the moonlight outside the window and sneered. "You are." Yi Xiaoye was stunned. He actually called her Yi Bia. Obviously, he wasn't someone she was familiar with. He should be someone from the martial arts world. "Last year, you took on a mission to encircle and annihilate a demonic cultivator. You took advantage of my injury and almost killed me. Don't you remember?" The black shadow looked coldly at Yi Xiaoye and said. "Ah, it's you. You are Endao." Yi Xiaoye suddenly remembered the identity of the person. Yes, last year, she did take on a mission to encircle and annihilate an injured demonic cultivator. Chapter 490. At that time, Endao was an evil cultivator who had reached the peak of level 10 of inner force. However, because he was injured, Yi Xiaoye and a few other evil cultivators who were on level 4 or 5 of inner force were able to defeat him and almost kill him. However, at the critical moment, Endao's amazing willpower burst out and escaped from the hands of the trial takers. This made Yi Xiaoye and the others feel very regretful. The reward for this task was not low. They didn't complete the task, so naturally, they wouldn't get a single point. They thought that this matter was over, but they didn't expect that Endao would come to them again after a year. "Yes, it's me. It seems that you still recognize me." Endao laughed and looked at Yi Xiaoye. "This is the last one. You made me look for you, but I finally found you. What do you mean? The others. Yi Xiaoya's heart jumped as she asked. Of course they were killed by me. And Dao Ma said coldly, do you think that I will let you go after I recover from my injuries? Each and every one of you will be tortured to death by me. Today, I will beat you to death the same way you ganged up on me. As he spoke, Dao Ma's aura appeared, which made Yi Xiaoya's heart sink. The aura on Dao Ma's body had clearly surpassed the peak of stage 10 internal force. It had the aura of a martial master. Could it be that Dao Ma had broken through to the martial master realm? Yi Xiaoya knew that she was definitely no match for the person in front of her. Even if he was at the peak of stage 10 internal force, she would still be helpless, let alone a martial master. Yi Xiaoya knew that she wouldn't be able to escape today, but she wasn't willing to die like this. You want to kill me? Yi Xiaoya asked. What do you think? And Dao Ma looked at Yi Xiaoya with a faint smile. I'm different from the others. I'm from the Devil Star sect, a candidate for the Holy Virgin of the Devil sect. I have a marriage contract with the Devil sect. If you kill me, it's the same as going against the entire Devil sect. Yi Xiaoya had no choice. She couldn't beat him, so she could only threaten him. Really? Actually, you're right. I've always been going against the demon sect. Even if I don't kill you, would the demon sect let me go? And Dao Ma looked at Yi Xiaoya mockingly. Little girl, aren't you a little too naive? This. Yi Xiaoya was suddenly at a loss for words. Yes, even if he let me go, the people from the demonic sects will not let him go. Although the demonic sects and the righteous sects are opposed, the demonic sects and the evil cultivators are even more irreconcilable. The reputation of the devil sect was ruined by these evil cultivators. Their cultivation methods were unscrupulous. Some were cruel, some were disgusting, some were immoral, and some violated morality. However, many people thought that evil cultivators were evil cultivators, so evil cultivators hated evil cultivators even more. What do you think? Thought it through? If you've thought it through, then obediently accept your death. And Dao Ma said, you also don't want to fight with me here and be heard by others, right? If your other tenants hear this and see me, then I'm sorry, I'll have to silence them. Then what do you want? Yi Xiaoya frowned and asked. Although she didn't get along well with Qing Menjing and Jin Beibei, it was just a daily conflict. Yi Xiaoya would not kill them. Come with me. Let's find a place where there's no one, and then I'll slowly torture you. And Dao Ma smiled. He threatened Yi Xiaoya because he wanted to make her obediently submit and be tortured to death. However, this was obviously not a good place. Well, lead the way. Yi Xiaoya took a deep breath. She didn't have much hope. Even if the white fox was here, it would be useless. And Dao Ma's momentum was too strong. Last year, he was already an evil cultivator at the peak of stage 10 of internal strength. Now, at least, he was still at his original strength. Therefore, the white fox was not his opponent. Only one more person would die here. Since Yi Xiaoya couldn't escape, she had to accept her fate. Nice. And Dao Ma nodded. He jumped down from the window and stood directly in the yard of the villa. Yi Xiaoya also jumped down from the window. When Xiao Chen came out before, and Dao Ma had already gone up, so Xiao Chen didn't notice him. However, when Dao Ma came out, Xiao Chen found him and was shocked. Who the hell jumped down from the sky? When he was about to see what was going on, he saw another person jump down. One of them was Yi Xiaoya, and the other one, Xiao Chen didn't know. However, judging from his momentum, he should also be a warrior, and his strength was not low. Yi Xiaoya didn't expect Xiao Chen to get up so early. He stood in front of the flower garden and fiddled with the flowers and plants. Originally, she wanted to see if Xiao Chen's plants bore fruit. If he was diligent, she would be happier. However, she couldn't be happy at all. Wasn't Xiao Chen courting death here? Sure enough, and Dao Ma looked at Xiao Chen and said, "Who are you?" "Yi Xiaoya, who is this?" "Your friend?" Xiao Chen asked calmly. The murderous look in Endao eyes was keenly captured by Xiao Chen. This person obviously wanted to harm him, so he was definitely not Yi Xiaoya's friend. Yes, Xiao Chen, you continue with your work. I'll go out for a while. I'll be back soon. Yi Xiaoya said quickly and secretly winked at Xiao Chen. It's so late, you still want to go out? How about I accompany you? Xiao Chen was worried that Yi Xiaoya would go with this person. If she left, would she be able to come back? This person's aura made Xiao Chen very uncomfortable. He didn't feel it when he was far away, but when he got closer, Xiao Chen felt that this was a kind of evil aura, similar to those evil cultivators he had encountered before. After listening to Xiao Chen's words, Yi Xiaoya was about to explode. Why are you showing off at this time? I've never seen you so enthusiastic before. Is there something wrong with you today? I've already winked at you, didn't you see it? If you want to stop, go back and rest. Why are you joining in the fun? Oh. Yi Xiaoya, is this your boyfriend? Not bad, he seems to care about you. Endao eyes flashed with a touch of ridicule. He immediately said, okay, young man, since you are so worried, come with me. Oh, okay. Xiao Chen nodded. You. Yi Xiaoya was going crazy. Did Xiao Chen sleep too much today? Xiao Chen acted as if he didn't see Yi Xiaoya's expression and went up to her. Yi Xiaoya was dressed so lightly that she obviously didn't even wear underwear. She just covered herself with a big nightgown and came down. It was obvious that she was in a hurry. And this man was an evil cultivator. Why was he so anxious to find Yi Xiaoya? What good could it be? Xiao Chen was thinking about Yi Xiaoya's safety at the moment. He didn't even care to go back to change clothes and put on a mask. He was afraid that if he went back to change clothes and put on a mask, Yi Xiaoya and this evil cultivator would have already gone far. So he decided to follow them directly and see if there was anything he could do to help. As for revealing his identity, Xiao Chen didn't care. Compared with Yi Xiaoya's safety, his identity was not so important. He just needed to kill this evil cultivator. He thought that Yi Xiaoya would keep it a secret for him. Yi Xiaoya, your boyfriend is so good to you. Shouldn't you be very happy? Very well, then let's go together. Endao said. Yi Xiaoya glared at Xiao Chen angrily, but she couldn't hint at him. Yi Xiaoya was afraid that if she revealed Endao's identity, Endao would kill Xiao Chen directly. After all, if Xiao Chen left and reported it to the Warrior Guild or the Supernatural Investigation Bureau the next day, then the news of Endao's reappearance would spread and he would be wanted again. So there was no other way. Yi Xiaoya could only stomp her feet and walk in front. Xiao Chen followed her calmly. This villa area was basically located in the suburbs, far away from the city center. Because of the remote terrain, there was a mountain range behind the villa area. In fact, most of the rich people who lived in the villa area stayed because of the beautiful environment here. It's just that the mountain range was basically a landscape. Not many people went up the mountain. At most, when the weather was good, they would play at the foot of the mountain during the day. At night, there was no one on the mountain. Of course, there was still some distance between the mountain range and the villa area. However, Endao and Yi Xiaoya were both warriors, so their pace was very fast. Originally, Yi Xiaoya wanted to walk faster and directly get rid of Xiao Chen, but she didn't expect that Xiao Chen was still leisurely following behind her. Yi Xiaoya really didn't know what to do. This guy's stamina and speed were not bad. No wonder he won the basketball game. It turned out that he was an athlete. But what was the use of this? His stamina was nothing in the eyes of high-level warriors and evil cultivators like Endao. The three arrived at the foot of the mountain range together. Yi Xiaoya saw a tent not far from the mountain. Obviously, this should be Endao's place. She didn't expect him to live here. The scenery here is so beautiful. Xiao Chen looked at the mountain in front of him and said sincerely, "There's also a tent." "Little Yi, Are we here for a rendezvous? Rendezvous your head, you idiot. Yi Xiaoya was so angry that she was stunned. She glared at Xiao Chen and said, "Why are you following us? Who told you to come?" Since they were already here, there was no way out. Yi Xiaoya simply stopped pretending and loudly scolded Xiao Chen. "Huh, you want to be a pair of ill-fated mandarin ducks? I'll fulfill your wish." And Dao Ma suddenly sneered. He suddenly stretched out his hand and a wind blade streaked across, hitting Yi Xiaoya's thigh. Yi Xiaoya screamed as the nightgown on her thigh was cut open. Blood instantly appeared on her thigh, and blood flowed out. Xiao Chen was shocked. He didn't expect Dao Ma to attack just like that. He regretted that he didn't take good care of Yi Xiaoya. However, he also blamed Yi Xiaoya. Why didn't she dodge? And Dao Ma's move just now didn't use any strength at all. It was just a casual move. It seemed that he wanted to torture Yi Xiaoya and wouldn't use any big moves. Chapter 491. That was why Xiao Chen's attack was so ordinary that he should have been able to dodge it. However, Xiao Chen didn't know that Yi Xiaoya was angry at him, and that was why she didn't notice it. "Ah!" Yi Xiaoya cried out in surprise and glared at Dao Ma with clenched teeth. "Hee, how is it? Does it feel good? Last year, didn't you demonic cultivators do the same to me, destroying me one move at a time? You were clearly no match for me, but you took advantage of the fact that you had more people and took advantage of my injury. Are you trying to wear me down? Fortunately, I'm lucky, but now it's your turn to taste this pain." And Dao Ma sneered and was about to attack again, but he suddenly felt a sense of danger. Dark Flame Palm. Xiao Chen used the 9th form of Dark Flame Palm toward Dao Ma's back. Xiao Chen used his raging vital energy to the extreme. Although it was the 9th form of Dark Flame Palm and he was only a cultivator at the peak of the 8th layer, the power of this move was equivalent to a 10th layer inner force cultivator. And Dao Ma turned pale with fright. Motherf asterisk Kerr, this kid is pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. He's AF asterisk King 10th layer inner force cultivator. No wonder he dared to follow without fear. No wonder he was puzzled. Why would a demonic cultivator from a large sect like Yi Xiaoya find an ordinary person as her boyfriend? But now it seemed that he had been fooled from beginning to end. He couldn't care less about Yi Xiaoya anymore. He suddenly turned around and met Xiao Chen's palm wind with a wind blade. This wind blade was also used to the extreme, displaying the power of a first-layer martial master to the extreme. Fortunately, he had already broken through to the martial master realm. Otherwise, if he was still at the peak of the 10th layer inner force, it would be hard to say who would be the winner. This kid's strength was obviously fierce, even fiercer than an ordinary 10th layer inner force cultivator. Boom! Xiao Chen's dark flame palm collided with Dao Ma's wind blade, causing a huge explosion. Although Dao Ma successfully blocked Xiao Chen's dark flame palm, he was still knocked back a few steps by the recoil and spat out a mouthful of blood. Fierce. The strength was too fierce. If he wasn't a demonic cultivator who could use wind blades, he would have suffered internal injuries if he had fought with Xiao Chen head-on. He really didn't understand how this young man named Xiao Chen could be so powerful, even though his level was higher than his. Xiao Chen didn't have an advantage either. The wind blade smashed into his palm and cut it, causing his palm to bleed. However, most of the force had been offset by the dark flame palm, so Chen only suffered external injuries. He's a martial master. Xiao Chen could sense that this person was even more powerful than Shen Hongjian. Yi Xiaoya was really a weirdo. She actually provoked such a powerful enemy. Of Xiao Chen didn't expect that Chen. He wasn't Xiao Chen's strength. She didn't expect that not only was Xiao Chen not the good-for-nothing in her impression, but he was also a martial artist at the 10th stage of inner force. He could even fight with Dao Ma, who was a martial master, and not lose. Wasn't this too powerful? And he could actually use the dark flame palm perfectly? Did she teach him that? This bastard, he could cultivate, but he kept lying to her. Was it fun to lie to her? Yi Xiaoye was a little depressed. It turned out that the strongest person in this villa was Xiao Chen, not her, Yi Xiaoye. No wonder he dared to follow her. But an inner force practitioner at the 10th stage was indeed very powerful. Among the younger generation of the sect, that was a top-notch existence. However, Endowma was a martial master, and he had successfully advanced to that level. Was Xiao Chen still a match for him? Dark Flame Palm. Xiao Chen used the Dark Flame Palm again and attacked Endowma, not giving him any time to catch his breath. However, Endowma was a martial master after all. After spitting out 2 mouthfuls of blood, he adjusted his breathing for a bit before opening and closing his hands. A ball of air condensed and was about to smash towards Xiao Chen. Humph. Xiao Chen snorted coldly. He suddenly waved his left hand, which hadn't made a move yet. A fireball fell from the sky and smashed toward Endowma. F***CK. Endowma had been paying attention to Xiao Chen's Dark Flame Palm. He didn't expect it to be a feint and that there would be a big move behind it. Seeing a big fireball falling from the sky, he had no choice but to throw the ball of air he had condensed to hit Xiao Chen above his head to block the fireball. Boom, the fireball was blown into pieces by the exploding ball of air. However, a few flames still hit Endowma's head. This was something similar to the Samadhi True Fire. The part of Endowma's head that was hit by the flames was instantly burned to a crisp, leaving only his white skull exposed. Although it wasn't fatal, it made him feel unbearable pain. What were these flames made of? What kind of martial arts technique was this? Wasn't it too strong? However, the stronger one was yet to come. What he didn't expect was that Xiao Chen's Dark Flame Palm wasn't a feint at all. It was a real move. Boom! The solid palm print landed on Endowma's chest. Endowma instantly flew backward with a howl. His sternum caved in and he spat out blood again and again. He couldn't be blamed for being careless. Normally, even martial masters could only use one kind of martial arts technique at the same time. He had never heard of anyone who could use 2 kinds of martial arts techniques at the same time. Therefore, in his opinion, since Xiao Chen had used the big fireball martial arts technique, that Dark Flame Palm was just a feint. It was just an action. How could he have known that it was also a real move? This caught him off guard and he was directly hit. Little did he know that Xiao Chen's big fireball wasn't a martial arts technique at all. It was just a fireball technique that was directly transformed from vital qi. It couldn't be considered as activating a martial arts technique at the same time, so he was tragically hit. With a whoosh, a super large fireball was once again thrown out from Xiao Chen's hand and smashed toward Endowma, who had fallen to the ground. Endowma had just landed on the ground when he saw the big fireball coming right after him. He didn't even have time to get up before the fireball smashed into his body and instantly enveloped him. Amidst a series of howls, Endowma was directly burned into a charred corpse. As for Xiao Chen, when he saw that Endowma had been burned to death, he heaved a sigh of relief. His whole body fell to the ground with a thud. He didn't dare to slack off in the slightest when dealing with a martial master level expert, so he had been going all out. Activating the Dark Flame Palm's 9th move twice in a row, coupled with 2 full-strength fireballs, had completely exhausted the vital qi in his body. He had only been relying on his willpower to hold on just now. Seeing that Endowma had died and was fine, he also fainted. All of this actually happened in the blink of an eye. Before Yi Xiaoye could intervene, the battle had already ended. Yi Xiaoye looked at Xiao Chen, who had fallen to the ground in horror. Is this for real? Endowma was killed by Xiao Chen? Isn't this too inconceivable? Xiao Chen is actually so strong. What kind of martial arts technique is this? It can even burn a martial master to death? However, Yi Xiaoye suddenly remembered that Xiao Chen was still lying on the ground. She hurriedly endured the pain in her leg, ran over, and felt for Xiao Chen's breath. When she found that Xiao Chen was still breathing, she immediately heaved a sigh of relief. She didn't know that Xiao Chen was physically exhausted. She thought that Xiao Chen had been injured when fighting with Endowma, so she didn't dare to be negligent. She hurriedly carried Xiao Chen on her back and staggered to the tent not far away. Her leg was injured, so she obviously couldn't run too far with Xiao Chen, so she had to find a place to stay first. As for Endalma, she took a look and realized that he had been burned beyond recognition. He was almost turned to ashes, and no one could tell that he was dead. So she didn't bother with him. This tent was indeed where Endalma lived. There were some of his clothes and some food. Yi Xiaoya put Xiao Chen down first, then quickly rummaged through the tent. Because the tent was relatively small, she couldn't stand up, so Yi Xiaoya could only kneel on the ground and half lie on the ground. She used the moonlight to search for the things Endalma left behind. Although Endalma was a demonic cultivator, he definitely had some healing medicine. Anyone who practiced martial arts would have these things on them. It was just that Endalma's things were rather complicated, so Yi Xiaoya couldn't find them immediately. She could only search carefully. However, as Yi Xiaoya was searching, she suddenly shivered. She felt like someone was staring at her. She subconsciously turned around and saw that Xiao Chen, who was lying behind her, had already opened his eyes. And the place he was staring at was actually between her legs. Yi Xiaoya suddenly thought of something. She had just finished dual cultivation with the white fox and hadn't had time to put on her clothes before Endalma came. She could only put on a nightgown to cover herself. However, when she lay down, her nightgown was cut by Endalma's wind blade, so the lower half of her body was exposed. Does it look good? Yi Xiaoya asked coldly. Pretty good. Xiao Chen said subconsciously. He had just woken up, so he was still a little dazed. He had overexerted his strength and fainted. However, he was worried that Endalma wasn't completely dead, so he quickly woke up after self-healing. As a result, when he opened his eyes, he saw such a scene. Is that so? Yi Xiaoya didn't expect Xiao Chen to say that. She was so angry that she directly kicked back and kicked Xiao Chen's face. Xiao Chen let out a scream and fainted again. He had already barely woken up, but Yi Xiaoya's kick made him fall into a coma again. Xiao Chen? Yi Xiaoya was shocked. She had only reacted subconsciously. She didn't expect Xiao Chen to be so weak that he fainted with just one kick. Yi Xiaoya quickly turned around and was a little speechless when she saw Xiao Chen with a big footprint on his face. She checked his breathing and found that it was normal. Only then did she heave a sigh of relief. He might have just fainted. However, Yi Xiaoya was also a little annoyed. This guy, he had seen it all. Couldn't he just comfort her and say that he didn't see anything? Then wouldn't this matter be over, and neither of us would be embarrassed? But what did you mean by pretty good? Did you see it? Do you want to continue looking? You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.